Hey, hello, my peeps. Welcome in. Welcome to our brand new podcast. You don't look disabled. Well, a quick disclaimer. There's two reasons why we chose the name for our podcast. One of them is, it's an ironic title. Um, because since it's a podcast that is audio based and you can't really see us, we are disabled, but so you cannot really be sure if you're actually disabled. You have to guess. Just kidding. And autistic people can be ironic, apparently. So, um, and the second reason is to recognize that autism, ADHD, like any type of neurodivergency, is a disability, an invisible one. Like we have visible ones and you have invisible ones. We are both invisible, disabled. So, out of the way, our podcast is going to be about. We are going to talk about disability and neurodivergency in an intersectional lens, instead of institutions speaking over us and taking the mics from us. We decided, by our own initiative and effort and with great endeavor, we now present this because we have voices that need to be heard. I guess, like me sometimes I don't need to be heard. Like sometimes I say bullshit. Anyway, so out of the way, we're going to present the two peeps that are here. You may start, Toad.
Hello, everyone. I am Toad. You might maybe know me here on Twitch as the Fiddler Toad. I have my own channel here on Twitch. I play the violin and all. I am autistic. I have ADHD. I'm 26. I am a music teacher. I forgot if I said this already or not. ADHD is hitting hard. Uh, already.
Relatable, relatable.
It's very relatable.
Mm.
And I was late diagnosed, both as autistic and ADHD. And I guess in my case, the sentence "you don't look disabled" hits particularly hard in the sense that all my life, or ever since I got my diagnosis, really, which hasn't been that long, but whatever, I've heard shit like, "Oh, I would have never guessed. Oh, you don't look autistic. You don't look disabled. You don't look
Shocking.
this." And it's like, yeah, right. And it's just like, yes, I know how to mask very well. Thank you very much. I've been doing that my entire life. And I guess that's what this episode is about in the end. So, um, yeah, I am a peeps that knows how to mask. A peeps, yes, plural. I am a person that knows how to mask
You are right,
pretty
though, so it makes
pretty
sense.
well. And everyone is always kind of, I guess, devaluing the problems that I have. So yeah, this is the perfect episode to start talking about it and start ranting about it. But if I start now, people won't present themselves. So like, oh yeah, my pronouns are they them, by the way.
Yeah, I was
Uh,
going to call out.
you were gonna call me out on, yo, you're not saying your pronouns again, and then you
Hmm.
complain that you are misgendered. Yeah,
Hmm.
just my
Yeah, yeah.
existence in a nutshell. So yeah,
Okay.
Humble, go ahead and present yourself, introduce yourself, whatever.
Uh, I was just drinking some iced tea, by the way. I was just chilling
Ah,
here. So, if you didn't know before Toad said my name is Rambo. I'm also known as the shit poster of their channel, and that's pretty much my biggest achievement in life.
being the
And
shitposter of the Fiddler Toad is the most
no,
biggest achievement in their life. Guys, you heard it
I
here
mean,
first.
it's the achievement in the year 2022. It was my New Year Eve goal. Um, so
Damn. I didn't
just,
even know
just
Twitch existed at the time.
yeah, but I was already planning
I
it.
already knew it.
That's
Jesus.
I was ADHDing, predicting. So I am autistic, if you didn't know, and I am ADHD, if you didn't already guess by my introduction, and I probably am dysgraphic. I probably have depression. I probably have anxiety. I probably have something else that I still didn't figure out. So I'm in opposite of Toad. I was early diagnosed as autistic. I was diagnosed when I was 5, and which means that I was diagnosed on the middle ages of the thing. Like because I literally, it was under the DSM-4 criteria, which means that there were still different distinctions of autism. Like, sorry, you have Asperger's syndrome and you have the
You
classic
had at the
autism.
time. Now the characterization is a little bit different, but at the time you did indeed. Sorry, little correction.
No, you could actually have the Asperger's syndrome label. I didn't. They literally said you were
It's outdated
literally.
though.
Yes, it is. That's why I said DSM-4. It's not the DSM-5.
Ah, gotcha. Sorry.
Stop interrupting me. That's very ADHD of you. Um,
People are calling me out on being ADHD on my own podcast. I'm being called out like that. So egoistic of you.
let me talk. Let me. Okay. Where was I? Okay, so they slammed the autism label on my face because you said like, "Yo, you are literally a walking checklist. You have the triad of the traits. Let me just really bluntly say that you're autistic as fuck." And not even going to slam the euphemism of autism that was known as Asperger's syndrome or mild autism. So because I was a very quiet and very routine focused kid, because I found weird because stuff like role plays should have rules, and I was obeying those rules, but the others didn't. That was weird. Um, so I have my share of mental health illnesses. I'm saying illness issues. I want to say issues because I don't have anything diagnosed. So I don't have anything diagnosed, but I take meds, which is a very that is the status quo of psychiatry. Hmm.
That's a full other episode, not gonna lie.
Yeah, but I have my fair share, and I put myself into risk several times in my life, and that's why I needed to. I also did this because it's not only also about neurodiversity and disability; it's also about mental illness and the stigma around it. Because I believe, basically, it's common knowledge that the stigma around mental illnesses, especially personality disorders, is so much worse. It's That's why I'm also here. We're very openly about the fact that I'm extremely mentally ill sometimes, and I'm also 22 and I write some poetry.
Yeah, that's the reason why this channel has a toad and a poet. I am clearly the poet, so they are
I
clearly the toad, right, guys? No.
I love how I prioritize the information. Like it was the last thing that I said. I write some poetry. Yeah, that's the end. And my age. It's the prioritization that I love.
I mean, listen, I literally had to almost bully you into creating a goddamn coffee for you to have your poem. So I guess that
I
makes
don't.
sense.
This is a reminder to put them because I didn't put them in yet.
Oh, the ADHD is hitting hard, guys. Oh
It's not
god, dang
just
it.
about stuff, it's really my entire life that I've been failing to finish stuff. Listen, the amount of drafts that I have to finish is enormous.
Guys, I want you to understand that I was the person calling Humble out on being ADHD and going like, you
Mm.
should really try diagnosis.
Oh yeah, I forgot
Meds
to say.
probably
Actually,
it
I
would
forgot to
actually help.
say I was sorry. I forgot to say that I was late diagnosed ADHD because my autism masked the whole thing,
Ah, what an
and
idiot.
I was late diagnosed when I was what age I was told. I was what
I don't know, it was a couple months
18.
ago.
What age I had a couple of months ago?
Uh, uh, l- less 1 year, so we were 21, you're not 22, right? Did I get it right?
I think so. I don't know.
So yeah, you were 21.
It's a joke. It's a joke. I know it. I was 21. I know. I even know the date. So I was kidding.
Sorry, you didn't put tone indicators on your voice and I'm stupid apparently.
Sorry, I'm going to put tone indicators on my voice. Half slash half joking.
Ah, are you done with your
Hmm.
introduction?
Yes, I just
Genuinely
forgot this.
asking.
I'm sorry because you keep interrupting me, and then I forgot my time of thought.
I'm
But that's okay because
sorry.
it's fine.
It's
It's
revenge.
fine.
It's revenge for what happened last call, in which I wanted to say
Yeah,
something
it's
and
a
it took me
revenge.
20
I
minutes.
deserve this. I deserve this. I deserve.
Clearly.
And even what happened before, because there were some shenanigans, by my part mostly. I'm
Those
sorry.
shenanigans are called ADHD and procrastination, guys. I'm so
Yeah,
surprised.
and a lot of anxiety, and a lot
And
of anxiety,
anxiety and
which
shenanigans
is
happening outward.
not very, which is not really mutually exclusive. But anyway, introduce the topic.
Yeah. So to formally start this this podcast.
I'm going to drink iced tea. Please talk.
Okay. We are here to talk more particularly about masking, as I said before. For those that don't know what masking is, and if anyone at some point has any question, if I say something, me or Campo say something that that
It's
we
offensive.
Jesus, that you don't know what it is. So if we use some hard word for you, something you don't understand, please ask in chat. It's fine. We answer your questions. Masking is basically a a mechanism that autistic people tend to develop. Not everyone is able to mask, but
Yeah.
autistic people tend to develop it in order to be able to fit in, to pass as normal. To act in a way in society that would be expected of us to act because we don't develop that quote unquote naturally, whatever the hell that means. Um, so basically, a very easy example. Uh, if I wasn't masking, I would probably do a lot of repetitive motions with my own body, like rocking my body to the front and to the back, or move my hands a lot more. And my way of speaking would be a little bit more monochordic in a very boring way that probably would make you guys very, very bored after a while. So to compensate for that, I consciously developed a way of speaking more like this, of being more energetic in front of other people, and of controlling a little bit of certain behaviors that are perceived as
Mhm.
autistic. So like when people tell me that I don't look autistic, it just means that I'm not demonstrating any of these behaviors. I am not stopping myself from talking when I probably should just be quiet because I'm getting extremely overwhelmed. I am not removing myself from a social situation in which there is a lot of noise or in which there is a lot of lighting, even if it overwhelms me, and even though I'm probably going to have a meltdown or a shutdown after that. I am forcing myself to do a lot of these things. And yeah, so today we are here to talk about this, and the reason we are here to talk about this is because at first me and Humbo kind of had a different opinion on this subject, because I am able to mask very well. And Rambo
I don't.
is, yeah, Rambo doesn't really mask, or at least much. It's really baseline. It's almost no masking. It's almost no masking to no masking. And Rambo, for the longest time, would shove to my face like, it's a privilege that you are able to mask. And I'm like, bro, do you have any idea how tired I am, how many burnouts I had, and the expectations that people have on me because I look goddamn normal, so I better act normal because if every time I complain about something, people say, oh, you just gotta try harder. I mean, it's not that hard. And if I say, oh, but I'm autistic, I mean, you're not that autistic. You gotta overcome all your problems and all of that. And I started to develop some serious health problems because of that, like hardcore health problems, which led me ultimately to have to stop for 2 months now. Look where I am. I'm great. I'm fine.
This
So
is fine. This is fine. You
yeah,
are that gift.
yeah. So I guess
Uh,
now talk about your own masking experience because I have been talking for so long that I need water. Bye.
it's fine. Bye. Now it's my podcast. Shut up. Okay. If you okay, for disclaimer, I am not really masking at all. Mm.
Because you can't.
Because I can't, and I'm also drinking an iced tea, which is very nice. So
It's iced tea times, guys, not masking time. You either have one or the other. If you have
it's
iced
chill
tea, you
time.
don't have masking, guys.
It's a chill time. So I decided to buy a nice drink for myself,
Smooth
mm.
and valid
Even though I
word
was not very
based.
chill out. Okay, okay, let me talk. So okay. So I got not really mask. I don't know why. I don't know what is behind like physiologically that makes me unable to mask. I don't know. It's more like masking is a learned behavior, and somehow I didn't learn it, or at least I don't know. Like I know some, like they said, like I know some baseline masking. I sometimes when I talk to patients, because I'm also a healthcare professional in training. How convenient! How I just forgot to mention this. Um, because when I talk to them, I tend to also have a different cadence in my voice. It's not because my voice is naturally monochordic. It's very expressive, actually. Uh, and yeah, I'm very theatrical. And when I talk to patients, my voice tends to be more, I think, produced. I don't know. It has a different cadence. I tend to speak a little slower, which I try to overpronounce certain words that I want to be more understandable, like the keywords from what I explaining to the patients the procedure. Because I'm dealing with deaf patients and they need a different type of approach. But most of them,
Scripting is beautiful, guys. That's what you're doing.
what?
You're basically scripting your entire interaction with your patients.
Yes, it's a script, and that's also considered masking.
Yeah.
And it's masking in my workplace. That's probably the most likely place that I can mask, and I still was called out for not doing good enough. True story. So because I am not able to mask, I will not make that much eye contact with the person because it's overwhelming. Um, I might talk a little faster if I'm anxious, but this is not related to my masking because I change my voice. It's also like I tend to speak slower. If I speak slower, it's because I'm masking. And literally, when I met this peep, I would say the first thing that I said to them was literally, "Hey, if I speak a little faster, since you have auditory issues, um, you may free to repeat to ask me to repeat because I stutter and
Disclaimer, I didn't understand a thing that they said from that moment on because they were so goddamn anxious that I was there like, this is fine. I'm totally understanding everything they're saying because like after asking for like
I didn't
twice,
know that.
you're knowing now.
It's
Uh
ironic now because I was literally like, yo, I sometimes struggle to speak, and they were like, ah. Mm,
I mean, no, I did hear that part. I understood what you said there, and like it's not like I didn't understand
mm,
anything that you said. Yes, this is new info to our audio humble.
sorry,
But
but
no,
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 no, no.
it's
But
fine. It's fine.
all I'm saying is that you were so nervous in that social situation, and because you were meeting
Yeah.
someone new, that you were aware of that, but you were not being able to make your voice sound in a way that was clear. And because I was also a little bit overwhelmed, my audio processing
Was shit.
yeah, just very bad. Basically, my audio processing when I am in a situation in which I am overwhelmed because I mask so much. My first instinct is to go non-verbal, so, or meaning that I was going to start talking in Portuguese. Wow, meaning that I stop being able to talk.
Yeah.
But because I force myself to talk, my body does another thing, which is start making me kind of deaf. And I mean this quite literally. It starts by me just being slow, understanding what people say, but it gets to the point in which I stop hearing stuff around me. Like it
It's
just gets
funny.
very, very
Funny
low.
times.
And because I was a little bit overwhelmed and I was forcing myself to talk because it was a new social situation, my audio processing was not very good. I wasn't very, I was having trouble understanding what people were telling me. And they
Mm.
were just speaking with this voice that was very muffled and super
Hmm.
fast.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
couldn't understand things. I was trying so hard, guys.
And I was I was not aware of that, but I was trying to pretend that I was aware. Like, because I don't
You're
really
gonna
know
start
what I'm
masking now?
saying.
Wow.
No, I'm not masking. But I was not even, like, I say this, like, as a disclaimer, like, if you don't get it, because probably the situation might happen, but I don't know when, how, because I don't have that self-awareness that
The
makes me.
disclaimer helped if it makes you feel any better.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Because you actually were the first person, because most people would say like, just talk normally. I was kind of like,
Dude, I
It's
was
so
trying to
what?
drink water. You almost killed me.
I was like, yeah,
Oh,
it
the
was
ableism.
sorry.
It's just like mask
Yeah,
harder.
it's the same thing actually. It's the same picture. Um, because and I was kind of like, okay, they're autistic. They probably will understand that I have some speech issues.
Yeah.
So I said that, and it was good. So, because most of the times it would be like I just try to talk slower, and I was kind of like I can try for like 5 minutes, but then I forget it and I start to talk muffled and slower. It is better to you start I start to get more comfortable with you. It's better because my
Mm-hmm.
anxiety goes down and I ground myself and it's fine. And don't make me self-conscious about certain things. Like I know that I have some speech impairments going on and that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, I was trying, and I think I was understanding, and that's why I also didn't want to try to force you to speak so many times because I could tell that you were a little bit uncomfortable with the whole new context situation, or at
I
least from
mean,
my
I would
perspective.
not mind. That's what I say. Like if you didn't understand.
Trying to see if we are back. I think we are back. I don't know for how long we were off.
Death Grips is online.
I don't know why. I mean, I kind of know why this happened, but it's
You
stupid that
wanna
it
tell
happened anyway.
what happened? It was my fault.
No, it was
Sorry.
mine. No, 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 no. All
That's
right, it
okay.
wasn't anyone's. It was the connection. Uh,
Uh,
Peeps on the chat. Can you tell me if this is fine? If we are back?
peeps. Let me hear
And by
you.
peeps, I mean the
Read,
one peep that was answering us.
read us. No, I wanna read you. It sounds so weird. It sounds so weird.
It does.
No.
You weren't
Uh,
hearing anything because my beautiful internet decided to just play tricks on us, you know.
don't call her. Don't call the internet beautiful. She's not beautiful. She
She,
is.
the internet is a she.
I mean,
Wow.
it's a
Guys,
she
today
on
we learned
Portuguese.
that the internet is a she her.
Blind Portuguese, it's a gender language, and internet is actually it has a how they say it.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
in
feminine gender, I
say
suppose. Yeah.
yeah. It has a gender like they're so like if someone they always call bad internet.
Can we
They're always
cancel gendered nouns altogether or something? I don't know,
yeah,
man.
but
It's kind
you
of stupid.
cancel gender languages.
Jesus.
Italian sucks.
Jeez.
Spanish
Disclaimer,
sucks.
we do not have anything against these languages. Twitch, please don't cancel us.
Portuguese sucks.
We just come up. We are just saying that sometimes gendered stuff makes life a little bit too complicated, okay? That's all we're saying.
That's what they say. We're saying that language is a social construct, and it was badly constructed.
I'm gonna start calling linguists to this channel.
Our
Anyway,
dear Maud is actually very versed on linguistics. Anyway, proceed.
um, let me try to get a little bit more to the topic because yes, we were talking about personal experiences. I'll just pretend that the last topic was over, uh, uh,
Yeah, it's better.
and and go more to the real question, I guess, that brought us to this topic in specific, which is being able to mask a privilege or not?
Is this a debate now? Okay,
Yes, I
I'm
mean
going.
it's a podcast. It should be a conversation, I suppose.
Okay, I'm going to argue. Okay. So,
Zig
going
has the
to
sword,
fight.
though. Our mod Zig has a sword, so we are the peeps
Give
talking
me the
here, but
sword.
I think we
Give
already
me.
lost against the mods. The mods are against us, Rambo.
Okay. So is masking a privilege? Well, if I was like a few months ago, I would say it's a privilege because you guys have everything like like you have an education, you have a job, and me and other autistics that don't mask, we have it harder. We are institutions, uh, which I'm saying this as in a mocking way, but I could see where I was coming from when I said this. Because yes, her dear told us the job that he loves
I have
drains them as
like
well,
I like eight
drains
different
them,
jobs. Thank you.
drains the hell out of them, drains really hard. And I could see in first person. And okay, now this is sounds so dramatic. In first person, I was there
Second,
in a battle.
but
I was
yes.
in a bear in a battle. No, but I could understand what they were going through. And I had my share of with experiences. So of course I was like, minor justice trauma was protecting a bit when I was arguing with them when on that March night. I genuinely remember the days. It's insane how I remember things. And I would say, I don't know if I told you this, but I was not in the best mind either for a discussion. Really, I was very triggered on that day for precisely ableist reasons, precisely, and that's why probably I just. But then again, it doesn't justify because probably I had internalized that you guys have it easier. So over the mouse, I something start to make sense, I guess, because I'm slow and I'm genuinely I'm slow. And having empathy and stuff and seeing them train all the time and then realizing that they actually developed several physical conditions because of their occupational activity, which was very intense. Because it not only requires, I'm talking over you for Christ's sake, because it only requires a lot of things to do, like driving is incredibly draining. You have no idea. Like for autistics, it's draining. And they did like, what hours did you do? What driving? How many hours did you drive? Like every week?
Around 10 hours per week.
Oh my goodness! It's so like
Sometimes a little bit
what?
more. It depended on the weeks, really. Sometimes I had someone else to drive for me, but I was still doing the trips anyway.
It's
And
literally
and
more than.
by driving sometimes for me, I
I'm
mean around
sorry.
3 hours at most per week, at most,
I'm
at the
sorry,
very most.
guys. Hear me out. This is more than the your work shift of 8 hours. This is actually a lot. And they had to
I
work
was I
like.
was giving around
Yes, you get.
30
Yes,
hours of
yeah, yeah.
classes
I
per
know.
week. Yeah,
Yeah.
but the peeps don't know. I
But
was
that's. But, sorry,
I was
sorry.
giving around 30 hours of classes per week in 7 different institutions, plus some private students. I think I had at the time particular students, two or three. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Unsure if they were the three all at the same time, but I always had at least two. Um, and basically, I was working at places that were like what 5 kilometers away from home, but also places that were around 80, 90 kilometers from home, depending on the school I was working at. And that's why I was driving so much. And every day my schedule was different for each day of the week. The only day I had off was Sunday, kinda, but you kind of have to take care of things at home and kind of do
Mm-hmm.
chores and all. So I was literally not having a single day off, and definitely not enough time for any hobby. I spent around 4 months without watching a single anime episode, for example, which is a thing that I enjoy doing, or studying Japanese, which is also another thing that I enjoy doing, or just, reading a book or doing some crochet or something like that. I spent all
Yeah,
that
you
time
didn't do
without
it. Yeah,
any time for that because I was constantly
yeah,
working.
yeah. And then the other day was Tuesday sometimes. Um.
Yeah, that was my calmest day of work because I didn't work in the morning.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. We get it. Ah. Okay. Sorry, I had to stop you because.
Sorry, I was just
Okay.
giving context. Go on.
Yeah, I get you, but we had to stay topic, which is very hard for us. So and also my sister, like my, and this was also a very recent realization that I was talking with Toad, and this was around the time that I was actually that I have the weirdest idea ever, which was at 1 a.m. just, yo, why don't we just start a podcast out of nowhere? Like, because it was due to that conversation, because it was actually because we were talking about masking. And my sister, she has a very similar case to yours, like in terms of like she spent her whole lifetime masking, and she's really overwhelmed, and she can, oh my goodness, I'm, I talked this to her about just today. I'm going to remember. She feels like when she meltdowns, she doesn't really melt down. She actually she
Mm-hmm.
spent a whole week to that she was not eating because she was entering a new relationship,
What a mood.
and it was a sudden routine shift for her, so
What a
she
mood.
didn't eat. And I was, oh, that's why actually it wasn't just anxiety thing. Like, yes, it was anxiety, but it was something more. Like, what triggered that anxiety? And that made a lot of sense.
Neurodivergency was the
And
answer, guys, all along.
all along, and she was assessed for ADHD before, at least for me. And she spends her, like, she is very emphasis that she's so very social awkward. She could be just seen as a shy girl with some quirks, and basically, and she, her family doesn't believe she's autistic. My mom doesn't believe she's autistic, and because she has such a, she doesn't want to admit it, but she has such a stereotype version of autism. She based her definition of autism on me because I'm very on the standards. I'm very stereotypically autistic, and it is not helpful. And because and this is when I get when masking is not really a privilege. It is a privilege. It starts to be a privilege when you can't, when you unmask and you can do your life without getting the consequence. That could actually be considered some kind of privilege. But I don't think, well, weighting the sides, the positive sides and the negative sides, well, the negative side is so much worse, for Christ's sake. And that's what I was missing the whole time. But then why I, but then again, coming to the beginning, why I was saying that, why I was still like, the positive sides are you are less prone to discrimination. I was victim of a lot of ableist discrimination in some form. I was very early considered pathologic, disabled. They thought I could not say this because it's an ableist slur, but intellectually disabled. They thought that.
You meant the R
Uh,
word?
no, no, the D word. It
Mm,
is a slur, and we still lose a lot. And
yeah.
I'm trying to avoid using that word.
Yeah, yeah.
But they just recently, people were actually surprised that I could drive. This
Same.
is funny. This is funny, but
Same.
but imagine me, because people have such a very distorted version of me, like because they see me like I'm steaming a lot, and I don't know
I
what
get
the fuck.
it. In my case, it was because the person didn't know me IRL. Because if you meet me
Mm,
IRL, I look quote
it was
unquote
that person. It was
normal,
to that.
but it was a
Wait, it was
person
that.
that hold on, but it was a person that didn't know me IRL, but knew that I was autistic. And when I said that I could drive, they were like, "Wait, you can drive?" And I was like, uh,
Wait,
yes."
I remember that.
Yeah, you
It was the
remember
same
because you
person.
know the person is also autistic, and this person
Mm,
himself, he had this internalized idea that autistic people like himself could not drive. And that's when it gets messed up, is that autistic people also have internalized ableism. They believe that because they are autistic they cannot do this or that, and that other autistic people cannot do this or that because the definition of autism is this thing over there that is very
mm.
formatted. And that's the opinion that even autistic people have, and it's very dangerous.
Yeah, yeah. It's which doesn't make any sense. I'm going to be very concise on this. Like, autism doesn't make my driving difficult. It might be ADHD because
Hmm.
lack of focus.
Oh
It
yeah,
might be
fuck
my,
that.
yeah. It can be.
Also, if I'm melting
Other
down
things
while
that are
driving, that sucks.
probably some vision problems that I might have. But then autism, even the criteria, like if you look up, like, where is this driving difficult thing that
There is
you
not.
guys are? There isn't. It's just really like ideas that are made, and they are like jungled together. Like, oh yeah, autism, intellectual disabled, even intellectually disabled drive. I just don't get it. Deaf people also drive, which is insane because people just think, oh, they can hear, but they drive. Like, listen, it's like they juggle all the
Yeah,
traits of
it's
disabilities into autism, because autism was a very broad definition at the beginning. They thought that, oh, probably they have learning disabilities, probably they have intellectual
that's the thing,
difficulties.
because autism becomes extremely obvious when there are also some kind of cognitive disability, because then it gets
Hmm.
one thing on top of the other, and the autistic traits get, you cannot mask them as well, tendentially. And I'm not saying that people that don't mask have any kind of cognitive problem necessarily, not at all. What I'm saying is that if they do, it gets harder to or it gets tendentially harder to mask. Therefore, you know, those things kind of might seem to correlate there a little bit more than what they do.
What a weird intonation you have there, like cadence. Just right in a minute.
I
Okay,
was running on Ecolia.
it was good. Actually, I liked.
I
Jesus,
have
you
them
should do that.
sweet, sweet, sweet reps, man.
Oh, because it's cool actually. When people actually unmask, I have this peep. Uh, she had a
There,
crush
guys, I
on
wasn't
me.
masking.
It's beautiful. She had a crush on me, and then
Rhiannon, welcome in. Sorry, I was just answering stupid things, chat.
hello, mate. Okay. Um, she said to me like, when I'm with you, I'm so comfortable that I don't even mask. I think that's the most beautiful thing a person can say to me, like autistic person, because you just feel like comfortable with non-masking.
Hmm.
If you're actually able to do that to a mask, and if you're comfortable doing that, and you say that it's okay, you feel okay to unmask in front of me, I just feel joy. It's you trust me, and also because I find when autistic people are not masking, I find them beautiful. You know, that's the thing. A little quirks, stemming, um,
Hmm.
Gloria, like all the things, they are beautiful in a the way, and in a world that pathologizes so much, like we call it stimming, and then the medical community calls this very beautiful name that is called stereotyped repetitive movements.
Oh yes, I
Yes,
absolutely
I
love
love
that
it.
one.
Like,
It's so
yes,
good. It's like you
doctor,
do that, you're
listen.
autistic. You don't do that, you're not autistic. So
Listen, listen,
beautiful.
listen, 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 doctor. I have st- you
It's even hard to say.
typical repetitive, yes, movements. Yes, I have this thing. It's stimming. It's stimming. Shut up. Self-stimulatory behavior. It's beautiful. Don't ruin it. And because we do that, because we are too overwhelmed and we need something to calm ourselves. That's why we do it. And people don't understand. They think like, oh, they're being weird. Oh, look at them. They're just being more autistic on purpose. But that's because probably the environment is hostile to us for some reason, for several reasons. And that's pretty much it. And I stim a lot. I don't know why. I seriously don't know why. Like, listen, it's so unconscious. Like, because people could actually tell me, some people that were specialized in autism, they could call me just straight away that I was autistic, and it would be just so fun, and I will not feel completely self-conscious about it. Like, it's fine, because I don't because it's so fun to not really know what shit fuckery of idea they have of autism when they're talking to me, and they might act on that bias. That is so fine. It's kind of like, probably they think that I am the D word. It's good. I love it. Slash sarcasm.
Yeah.
Slash passive aggressive.
Yeah. For
That's
me,
pretty
it's
much
kind of
it.
the opposite. Because,
Yeah, because that's the thing. Yeah, we are opposites.
yeah,
You know.
because for all that time, like you were saying, and like I said at the beginning, you had a different positioning on wherever masking was a privilege or not. Being able to mask our autistic traits was a privilege or not. And it always felt very invalidating, and not just because of what they were saying, of what Humble was saying specifically, but because of
Mhm.
basically my entire life experience when people please, your phone is vibrating. um, when people started, just saying stuff like, "Oh, but you have it easy." I've heard that my entire life. I was a gifted child. I always had best grades, and I was always top class, and I was always so this and that and whatever. Um, I do think masking is a privilege for as much of a curse as it is. I'll get there. I'll get there, Zik. Um, let me get there. Being able to mask stopped me from having a diagnosis for 25 years of my life. Being able to mask made it so that until I don't remember if it was 21 or 22, I
Mm.
even knew of the possibility of me being autistic. It took me an extra year or so for me to even be able to take a questionnaire that had diagnose criteria to tell me if I could potentially be autistic or not. It took me even longer to try to get the diagnosis because I had such an idea, a strict idea of what my ability was and what I had hard or not, that I thought I am so close to I'm like on the limbo of the criteria for being autistic or not. I probably shouldn't even try to get a diagnosis because I probably am not. And every single time I try to talk to someone about this, the answer I would get is like, "Oh, but why do you want a label? Oh, you're just normal. Ah,
Mhm.
you're a little bit quirky." I've heard all my life people telling me that I was just normal and that I was top grade and whatever, that I was super good at whatever I did because I didn't even have to try, you know? And then I heard the same people talking on my back saying that I was crazy, that I didn't know how to act with other people. I heard
Mm.
this my entire life over and over and over. People saying me that, telling me behind my, telling other people actually behind my back, saying that there had to be something wrong with me. But every single time I tried to say something like, um, I don't really like being in this kind of situation because it has a lot of noise. People just saying stuff like, I mean, it's just a little bit of noise. What's the problem with that? It's a big deal for me. And I was literally invalidating my own struggles to the point that I didn't even understand that I had those struggles. So if anyone asked me if I had problems being in loud places, I would say no. But boy, I would melt
Mhm.
down. Boy, I would enter a shutdown. I would literally go nonverbal, force myself to speak and go deaf on account of that,
Yes, it
and
was
say
getting too much.
I didn't have problems being in a loud place because, and then I say this, I try to, then when I became aware, okay, I definitely do have a kind of disability in the social
Mm.
sense. Like, there is nothing wrong with me per se, but the world is built in a way that is very hostile towards me and towards my needs, and I do need some certain kinds of accommodations. And every single time I try to ask for a single thing, people tell me to grow the fuck up because I am
Yeah,
not disabled enough to get a fucking single
yeah.
accommodation.
Yeah,
So
it's
my
cringe.
masking is a privilege in the sense that I get more autonomy. I am taken seriously when I say something. I am taken seriously if I have an opinion that I want to say. It's a
But
privilege in the way people perceive me as someone with the cognitive ability to say something. But if I need something, then I am actually worse, in a worse position than someone that cannot mask, because people that cannot mask are seen as, oh, they need help, they need this, they need that, oh, poor thing. And of course, it sucks. It's super condescending. It's
okay, on
awful.
that. Okay, okay. Now you made me think. But that's why I don't say it's a privilege because you had to weigh the negative sides. And the negative
Exactly.
side.
Exactly.
Oh,
I'm
it's not
arguing on
only a
that.
privilege. It's like okay, it's a privilege between all quotes, but then he asks the question: at what cost?
Exactly. At
really.
what cost? And for me, the
It's a trauma response, literally.
yes,
It's a trauma
all
response.
those
It's a
times that you were
survivor
telling me,
skill.
sorry,
Okay,
all those times that you were telling me that I didn't know how it was like because I could mask. I didn't know how it was like because I could be in certain kinds of
and I
contexts.
was invalidating you.
You were exactly. I was feeling like, uh,
And this was
like
coming from autistic people. Like, aren't you supposed to say like to be like in favor
supportive of my struggles. Exactly,
of
and
my struggles? But no, you're just being okay. I cannot say this word. Let's try first the most awkward because I was going to say a bad word. You're arrogant. Okay, I'm going to say arrogant. Really, it's that
yeah,
literally.
and there's another thing interesting about being able to mask, which is people will always think that I'm absolutely able in all senses of the word. So they will say the stupidest thing around me. Actually offensive
Hmm.
things to all kinds of disabled people, not because they mean any harm. I'm not saying that these people are evil or that they mean anything bad. They don't. They really don't. They are usually straight up good people. But they will say use words that they really shouldn't and say stuff that comes from a really biased point of view, and I am just
Hmm.
there and I'm like, would you say something if you had a disabled person in the room, if you had an autistic person in the room, you had a neurodivergent person in the room? And they'll tell me all the time no, and I'll have to tell them you just did. And then the argument that they'll try
You
to
got caught.
make, yes, the argument that they'll try to make is that, oh, but you are not really, or you don't act like that, or you
Oh,
don't look that way. And
you're
it
not
just
like the
stabs
others.
me.
Oh
It
no,
stabs me every time because every single time I try
you are
to
the good
talk,
one. Oh
yes,
no.
I am the good one. Every single time I try
Oh
to say
no,
that
no.
I
Oh,
struggle with this particular thing, the answer
okay.
I get is, "Oh, but you're not that autistic. Oh, you don't really
Ah,
look like you are. Oh, I would never have guessed." The amount of
that
times I
stings.
heard I would never have guessed. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I don't look disabled. I fucking know that. Thank you very much."
Oh, you know, like because you have to know autism has a face, and but we don't have a face. We are faceless. So it's really ridiculous. Just kidding. Okay. So actually, I got caught on first what you said actually stung me like, probably I'm the bad type. Just kidding. Okay, I know I'm not, I can be a bad person, but in
Everyone
a
can be a bad person from time to time. I was definitely a terrible person. I was a terrible teen. I had zero empathy. On that, I was a
yeah, not
stereotype
getting to that now.
of the autistic
Let
person.
me no, let me finish or start
No, I am
whatever.
ADHD.
No, let me start. So, um, what you said actually stuck a bit because you know if I'm very more visibly disabled, but I'm still in the limbo, like because I know that I can still pass it as a neurotypical ish if I try a little bit hard enough, and
I don't know if you can or not. I'm too biased. My neuro there is like up the fucking roof.
yeah, but for all the people have to understand on in a normie point of view, is that I'm still very eccentric, weird, shy, reserved, but pretty much it. And I have weird tics, so yeah, that's probably what they would say. But I'm still kind of like I pass the vibe that I might be disabled at the same time. It's kind of weird because if you, especially when people just um grow like see me growing and they see me as a child because I was so overwhelmed all the time when I was a child, so probably I would seem even more autistic because I was masking zero. So they start to assume things, and that's why they think that I couldn't drive. Literally, a physician told my mom that she was surprised the fact that I used public transportation to go to university. This happened. It was a physician, really.
Ugh, ableism
I
over the
have
fucking stars.
yes, it's
It's not
and it
even the roof, it's the
stings.
stars.
It stings. It completely stings. Like it's this thing that has happened. The thing that I've always felt since I was young, like I had to prove myself that I was able to overcome the obstacles that are literally ableism, really systemic. Like to prove that I could do things. Like, yes, I'm autistic and I go to university. Yes, I'm autistic and I'm starting a podcast. Like that sort of thing. But when I was 15, probably, and it's damaging. It's consuming. Like you always have to prove to other people that you can do this and this and this and this, despite emphasis on the word despite being disabled. And you shouldn't say despite. You should say I am autistic. I go to university. Period.
Independently. It's not even, those things are not
Just put
connected.
a
I am an
comma.
autistic
Really.
person and I also went to university and they are not related in any fucking way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really that. And what I wanted to say. And that's why it stings me a little bit, and actually, and I have a lot of trauma from that, and that's why probably I validated you a lot because I thought in my head they probably didn't receive, but you did. The same comments that I received when I was younger, my teenage years.
I mean,
I was bullied.
I was called out by a teacher during class for a
Uh,
stain that I had and I still have in front of everyone and calling me out that if I didn't stop in that moment, I would do that for the rest of my life. And I knew I couldn't fucking stop because that was a thing that called me during classes.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
actually
yeah,
did,
yeah, yeah.
just in a different way. I didn't even know what the fuck was wrong with me because I couldn't stop doing the things that people told me that they were weird. And I had no fucking explanation for that. I literally could not stop talking during classes because of my ADHD and just moving around, and everyone was just telling me to fucking behave. And every single, at the end of each period, school term, I would have notes on my grades saying that I was a great student, but that if I didn't shut the fuck up and behave like a normal kid, my grades would go down at the end of every single school term, and I would get scolded every single time because I wasn't behaving. And I didn't know why. I didn't know why I couldn't stop. I wanted to. I wanted to be a normal kid. I genuinely did. But I literally could not be a normal kid. I had no control over that. Yeah, geez, I literally have that in my archive of like the grades that I have. There is not a single school term that at the end, it didn't say that my behavior was not very good and that I needed to change that. I didn't know what to do about that. I grew up not being able to stop, not being able to make friends really, and also not knowing what the fuck was wrong with me because I didn't have a goddamn label to put on me. I didn't know, yo, you have these troubles because you're autistic or because you're ADHD. No, I just thought there was something extremely wrong with me.
Hmm. That's but you're pathologizing yourself. Like that's why you decide to get the diagnosis to stop pathologizing your traits.
Yeah, because suddenly I had a label, sure, but it was a label that it didn't need to be negative. Okay, I have this certain traits that come from this one thing, and that's why I act in this way. And now that I know this and I have access to articles and to things to help me cope with these things, I can do things that will help me calm myself down if this happens, or will help me act in a certain way in this specific context. You know, things that were informative. But up until then, I had zero information, zero accompaniment, and it was just like, you are too smart and too good of a student to not understand that you need to behave.
I see. I see. Sorry. I I was actually I was actually a special needs student. Like this is there's a big difference between me and Toad. A small actually because I didn't went to
We do have the same neurodivergencies.
yeah, that's why our experiences are so different, but at the same time come from the same place at the same time. Like it's weird. And I was special needs student for in my kindergarten, and um, on my first semester of my first year in elementary school, and thank you, um, and that was hard to be honest because I would still have that ableist conception concept like I am smart. Like I learned just fine because they really thought I had learning disability, learning difficulties. Because psychologists really thought that this was 2005.
Yeah, for me it was the opposite.
Imagine being diagnosed in 2005. It's hardcore. It's hardcore shit. Um, I was diagnosed in our national healthcare system. It was diagnosed by private sector because that's how
Hmm.
it works.
Oh yeah,
And
if you want to get good services, go to the private. The public doesn't have much to offer right now in terms of mental health and diagnosing neurodivergent people specifically. Because yeah,
yeah,
sorry I interrupted you again.
no, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I actually appreciate it right now. So, oh, actually, I don't know where I was.
You were talking about the diagnosis process, I think.
Yes, this it's another thing. Because masking cost us actually is expensive because if you
Yeah.
have mask so long, you can no longer be. You are less legible for a diagnosis, so you have to go private, and private is
Mm.
shockingly expensive.
Yeah, 90 euros off my fucking wallet. And that
Yeah,
was cheap actually.
it was the same thing for my ADHD diagnosis because I was not very sus for ADHD. Which with now with this DSM-5 criteria, you
That's the
have
thing.
the
I was so sus for ADHD as a kid, and no one fucking diagnosed me. I was so fucking
I
sus, but I am
I
a fab.
wasn't.
But I was.
Yeah,
Listen, teachers put me in the front desk in primary school, and when they looked at the board, and then when they looked back at me, I was in the next to the door, next to the other wall of the room with my desk, talking out, not being able to sit the fuck down, going from task to task without any order in particular, talking to everyone, but then they wanted to call me out and I had everything done on my notebook and they couldn't do anything about it. I was a nightmare in the classroom.
really though. You probably were very talkative.
Oh,
I
talkative is
wasn't.
an euphemism, really.
So you were. I wasn't. I was very quiet. That's why I was not very sus for ADHD because I was living the ADHD more internally, which is fun. It's a new flavor of ADHD. Like you live things internally, and you
It's
struggle
like ice cream.
internally. It's like ice cream. It's just why ice cream? I don't get ice cream joke.
It's because you said it's a new flavor of ADHD, and I'm like, ah.
Uh, it's
I
I
found it
know.
funny, sorry.
It probably would be vanilla. I don't know. I felt like that.
So uninteresting.
So interesting. It's mellow. It's a vanilla. It's literally vanilla is a boring flavor.
I know,
I'm
but I
boring.
like
Like I'm
it.
calling myself
But I
boring.
like it. I like
I actually
vanilla.
like it as well. Someone bring vanilla ice cream to us, please.
Yes, yes,
Send on a tapes. Like send the ice cream,
yes.
the
Clearly,
money for
send us a tip so that we can go buy ice cream, guys. That's it.
yeah
That's it.
the new flavor AHD. So I was living, and I even thought to myself, was even I was masking my ADHD, and probably yes, in a very creative way, which is I was lying all the time about my shenanigans. Uh, yes, I would say like because I would say like uh, this day I want to do this thing, but it's unhinged. I'm aware that it's unhinged, so I will not tell my mom that it will be become extremely anxious. So I say like, oh, I'm going to go to this place that you know that I'm safe, so I can go to the place that you know that I'm not safe. So I went to the nearest to the uh, this place that is not safe. Oh my goodness, this is such a
You
rhyme.
are eating my brain with that one.
Fuck. And literally, and that's what I was lying all the time. And sometimes I still lie about my enhanced behavior because I was feeling guilty. Like I shouldn't do this. It's wrong. Like literally, like my enhanced behavior. Like it's the most remarkable thing about me.
You
And
have a lot of things that are remarkable about you, Humble.
oh, that's flattering.
Guys,
you
they're
know,
blushing. They're blushing on the other side. I can
it's
almost
not.
see it. I don't have camera on, but I can almost see it, guys.
I'm smiling though. I don't know if I'm blushing.
Aww.
I'm smiling. So, probably that was my way of masking. Probably it was if I forgot my homework. I am very creative of doing that. Like I would like make rubbish answers. Like I would just write gibberish to pretend that it was the homework. And somehow my teacher never never caught me.
Damn, and I
And
was trying so hard in doing everyone's homework for nothing. I was
no, I
literally
was
doing
smart.
everyone's homework in
Listen,
my
I was a
class.
smart kid. I was a smart kid, not in
Damn,
terms
I
of
was
grades.
smart, but apparently not smart enough to survive in this
Like
system. God fucking damn
And
it.
like, yes, and I'm the underachiever. So I was more interested in
Man.
doing the fucking homework. No, I'm not just kidding. I just probably forgot. And I was like panicking because I was like looking at the teacher just
Oh, but I would
going
do
through
it
the
anyway.
table.
I would do it with the teacher looking at me, and then they would get to my name.
No, I
They
didn't
would
have it
get.
many times. So
I
I
was
would
in the
just write
middle.
gibberish answers. I would just write gibberish answers. So,
Man,
like what is 2 plus 2? I don't say banana, like something like that. It will be just hilarious. And
man.
yeah, another thing, I have a lot of tricks actually. It's insane. Which is also very
Teach me,
helpful
Rambo
when
senpai.
yeah, I will teach you after that.
Man, that sounded so suggestive, not even.
So I did on purpose though.
Oh.
I'm asexual. I'm not. I don't make sexual innuendos slash joke.
Oh, yeah, the tone indicator while we're speaking. I love it.
So so yeah, it's a type of masking that is very creative
Speaking of
because
masking again, I want to ask you one thing because I actually don't
hmm,
know. What is to you the expense of masking when you can mask? Like, what are the consequences to you when you have to mask and when you do mask?
it's a little difficult because sometimes I cannot. It's kind of like
Yeah,
asking me.
yeah, but it's like when you can,
It's
like,
such an abstract concept for me because the way that you mask, I will not be able to do it. So that's why it's kind of like ask me,
okay, but I'm not
how do
telling
you
you if
solve this
you.
equation?
Jesus, that's not what I'm asking. It's like when you solve an equation of any kind. It's not when you solve this equation that I solve. It's not like I'm not asking you to tell me
Okay,
what.
how do I know? I understand the question. Like, if when I do mask,
Yeah,
what happens to
yeah,
me?
yeah.
Um, that's why it's kind of abstract because I don't know. Okay, I had to think of a situation that I would consider masking, which is the social masking, because
Mm-hmm.
I would try to do everything that I could to be friends with someone, and this happened in high school and university. So
Oh, the
I'm going to,
classic.
yes, I'm going to say I'm going to talk more specific about university because it was more intense, I think, and it actually cost me. It did cost me a little bit of my mental health. So when I was with a group of peeps, peeps is a good word. I don't want to
I
say
was
this.
thinking the exact same. I was thinking like, why is peeps the best word? And this is literally the meme of this channel. Damn.
Yeah, peeps
Ah,
are nice. Peeps is nice. I
yeah.
would
Great minds
say
think alike.
bastards. Okay, but
Jesus.
bastards is also it's also lighthearted in the same way.
I
Like
mean, yeah, but
person, people, cisheads. Okay, it's
Jesus.
better.
Okay, peeps. Peeps. Let's go back to peeps. When you were trying to make
No,
friends with peeps, go.
mates. I would say mates, probably. Okay, I'm going to say
Oh,
mates.
with the Aussies now.
I'm also I say might in such a Aussie way. Why you do okay? Moving on. Um, when I was with the mates, like I would try everything. Like I would have conversations that would resemble their taste, which happened to be influencers, beauty things like TV shows, like stuff like that. And it was so out of place because I was so like, yo, I like Death Grips. Death Grips is literally like shit music. How to explain this to people? I was literally just my pastime was literally scrolling on on
This was clearly programmed,
yeah, literally
scripted and
it
all.
was
We
real
are getting a
it was
call from Mr. President of the United States.
oh no, not the Biden. Not the
Moving on,
Biden.
moving on.
We did it, Joe. We did it. Okay. So it's the meme. Okay. Where was I?
I even
Okay.
lost you. I
And
don't
I
know.
was I was like a weird kid in disguise. Like I still have some steam stuff. Like I would have a running joke that I was weird. I was into spooky things. Like I would say that I was a witch, which was a running joke of mine. It was the best joke that I could come up since I could not have my enhanced humor, which is a very it's a distinction that I make when I'm masking. And I'm not masking. My humor is more mellow. I would say it's boring. It's very basic, and I hate it. Clearly, this is the biggest difference I think. Now that I'm thinking when I'm not when I'm asking, because I just it's just so boring, and it's so sad actually. This is actually the light stuff. The hard stuff is like, of course, I was not able to fully mask, and people would still call me by my weird posture, by my sometimes my vocal speech. Like speech was the thing that they called me out for it the most, and not looking at people, which I was not. I was masking kind of like I'm more as a performance. Like I was creating like, yo, I had to do this topic. I had to talk like this and this and this and this. I had to have this conversation. I had to compliment her hair because even though I don't like the hair. Like, listen, I had to comment the nails, and I hate the nails.
I hate everyone's nails, and when people ask me opinion on nails, and I'm like, I need to be polite.
Those nails. It was. I
They're
want to say, scream at
ugly.
her like, your nails look disgusting. Like,
No, because it's
they are horrendous. And I was kind of like, girl, quit! You slaying with those long nails that you're going to have such trouble when cleaning your ass in the toilet.
Jesus.
Like, just kidding. I didn't say it. I just said the first part. The
They
second,
pointed out
I didn't.
something important. They said, don't call it fully masking. Masking is masking. No one can mask perfectly. And
Hmm.
yes, that is true. And to a degree, I mean, neurotypical people also mask. They need a very good way. It's not the exact same disclaimer, but a good way for neurotypical people to understand what masking is like is imagine that you work at a service place in which you have to you have a script on what you have to say to your customers or whatever, and you need to talk in this very 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 specific way every
It's
time
literally
that you
that.
are working. Now imagine
It's a
that you have to do
performance.
that. Yeah, now imagine that you have to do that act for literally everything that you do in your life, because if you don't, people will say that you're weird, and you won't get your job, and you won't get your money at the end of the month, and you won't get
Yeah,
friends, you won't get
that's very much what
anything
they said to me.
because you're weird. If you don't get that persona, that perfect persona that you need to keep up for the 8 hours of your job at customer service, that one, imagine that one, but literally for everything in your life and for situations that you are not prepared for. That's what masking feels like, and that's how much it tires you. It's
It is.
the best analogy I can give you if you are neurotypical and you are hearing
I
this.
I have a theory that masking is euphemism for. Actually, I have the Divine Comedy as my setup of my microphone, and I think that masking is the impersonation of one of Dante Inferno, Nine Circles. No, Nine Circles of Inferno. I think it is. It's not even an exaggeration. It's one of them. It has to be. And and it's literally that because what Toad meant is masking is coercive.
Mm-hmm.
It's this is a key idea. Like which has a lot to do with the current system that we live in. Like work is coercive, is exploitatory. Masking, that is very related. Like it's not a coincidence that when I say that I mask the most is when I work. It's not coincidental because I'm really required to mask so I can technically provide a better service, I guess. I do exams, and it's not even a service. It's a service, but yeah, you get it. Like there's, it's just socially constructed. You know, I can't just treat patients just fine, but it's still like required to me to have this profile that I cannot fulfill, and that's why I got screwed up many times. And you cannot do this. You are underperforming. I was a good student, but I was underperforming in the practice, and it stung me. And actually, one of the things that one of my professors actually said to me, you know, this course is not just, this degree is not just theory, you know, so it's also practice. And it stung me because I was good at getting, you know, the essential. Of course, I was not a great student, but I was like, yeah, I can nail this. Like, just fine, I can pass this. And it stung me, really, because it made me think like, oh no, when it comes to the work environment, I'm going to get so screwed. And it's the ultimate autistic experience. You're going to get screwed over in your job, either by burnout, meltdown, whatever, shutdown, or you're underperforming according to the boss expectations, manager expectations, whatever. And I was really afraid, and I'm still very doomed by this. Like, I, it's not a chance that many autistic people. I'm not going to say statistics because it's not. They vary, of course, but many autistic people are unemployed or they are in temporary jobs for a reason. And because most of the times the job descriptions are literally like describing the opposite of our traits. Literally, they require communication. Yeah, I suck at communication.
No, I'm
Apparently,
actually that's the thing. We are actually very good at communicating if people don't
yeah,
force
we
me to
are.
communicate in
I
the way they
actually,
want me
but
to. I am
in a social,
extremely good at communicating. I am extremely good at being literal. I'm extremely good at being direct, and I am extremely good at telling people what they need step by step. But apparently I'm rude when I do that.
I cannot really say the same to me because I actually have really communications issues that are more related to my speech impairment thing. But me, it's a very ambiguous case because sometimes I cannot really talk, but it's because I'm too overwhelmed. I cannot talk, and that's what happened at the time. I couldn't. I went semi-verbal, and my voice was muffled, and I was shaking, and I could not talk. Like just a few minutes ago, I was feeling that, and I was actually afraid of not being able to talk over the rest of this, like with like the confidence that I'm not talking. And I even noticed that my tone is getting a little more ground than usual. uh, all of these things is like, but I cannot say that I suck at communication because I'm also a person that likes blunt things, likes to be blunt about things, likes being straightforward.
And when you
But
don't
I'm
get a
also,
trauma response, really.
yes, because I actually like over explaining things. Like I mean this, when I mean
Oh,
this,
over
I mean
explaining is a fucking neurodivergent mood, don't even.
yeah. It's like, but what I meant by this is it was in a social constructive way, not in a logical way, which would make more sense. It's like I have this. It's an anxiety response.
Combo, let me
It's like
just read two pearls of messages that I have here on the chat. First one, you have to
okay,
sacrifice your mental health just to maintain the vibe of your workplace for random people who most likely will never respect the work you're doing for them, which honestly
good.
based. And the second one says, quote unquote, I'm better communicating, said the person communicating with another person directly and communicating their ideas to a bunch of people online.
That
So
is
there you have
cool.
the call out.
No, it's insane. It's literally are so straightforward. And then they're the ones like, who say that I'm bad at communicating? Oh, it's the person that gives me the most ambiguous passive aggressive response ever.
Oh, yes, neurotypical
Like I
communicating.
can really read the tone. Yes, I can understand what is the conflict really by your passive aggressive tone that has a
Oh,
lot
but
of
it's always so
second
condescending.
intentions.
It's as if you couldn't understand what they mean, because of course you're fucking stupid. It's like, oh yeah, you think that I didn't understand how much of an idiot you think I am by the way you spoke? You think that I can't tell that you think that I have some huge problem going on here? Wow, you must really think that I'm extremely dumb, really. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. That's why they think we are the word because we can't get social cues. Sometimes,
Yeah.
like, when is the thing, it's not because I don't know them. Yeah, sometimes it is because I don't know them, but most of the times it's I don't look at people's eyes. Like, I don't look at people,
Oh, eye
but I
contact
still
is a
notice.
hmm.
But then again, I can feel the sense that the person, like, when I was talking to you just yesterday, I noticed that you're getting impatient
Oh, it
by.
definitely was.
Yes, I read that. I was kind of like, "Are you patient?" So,
Took them 10 minutes, but they did ask and they did correct it. If it was a neurotypical person, they would just fucking ignore that, and I would be stuck in a call for an entire hour without them asking me that. So, guess who's better?
thank you. Yeah, but I was kind of like, but actually, yes, I'm slow.
And
I
then I'm the
process things.
neurodivergent here, exactly.
I
Like,
am
other
this.
people don't communicate with me, but I am the neurodivergent person. Hello?
Like, that's why I'm actually very strict. Like, are you okay? You don't seem okay. You're
Mhm.
breathing hard.
Also, the person that
You
said
give
that
me
had no
such.
empathy. Then asking every single time, like, oh, are you okay? Do you need this? Is this okay?
No,
Welcome to
because
Humble.
uh, it's cognitive empathy. I don't have your hyper empathy.
But I it start mine started with cognitive empathy because I had zero empathy and I knew there was something the hell wrong with me, and there was. And I consciously developed my empathy that eventually turned into hyper empathy, I guess due to trauma response or because I always had hyper empathy, but it was just locked because otherwise I would crumble apart and get extremely overwhelmed. One of those two. You figure out which one. So yeah.
I'll not make it easy choice. Yes, that's why, because I learned to get social cues in an alternative way, and if I don't get them, I ask because they're being ambiguous. I was kind of like, uh, I don't know if I can say this. I don't know if she's watching this. Like, I was getting like the sense that she might, but was
Humble,
not
just say
really
the
sure.
thing. As long as you don't say names.
Okay, I sense that I had a crush on that person, and I was sensing that she had a very friendly dynamic with me, so I was kind of like, okay. But she was kind of hard to read, so I didn't want to assume, but I was still kind of giving hints. So and then I was like, I
Oh,
woke up.
the
I
flirting
was like,
experience.
I was kind of like, okay. No, she was getting the hints probably, and I asked her in private, like very straightforward. Yo, I have a crush on you. Do you have a crush on me? Just say yes or no. It's okay if you don't. We're still friends. Yes, I said this in the most blunt way. Very
Humble, you have
light-hearted, actually.
nothing on me. You have nothing on me. When I was 18, before going to college, I had like this huge crush on this guy. And the guy was not getting it. Like, I was giving everything. I don't think you understand. The only thing that was left was just me fucking kiss the fucking dude without asking. Like, that was the last thing that I had to do in order for the guy to get it. So, like, the guy we are this is before an orchestra concert, by the way, so we are dressed to have a an orchestra concert, like full on, and someone like makes kind of this joke about us or whatever, and he's just like they're like not getting it, and I just turn to him and I say, when will you get that I like you? And he looks at
But
me.
as a friend,
He'll no. He look no. He understood. When you understand that I got them like you, like I made it very clear, okay. And he just looks at me without any expression on his face. I panic and I just get the fuck out. I turn back. I go to a friend of mine and I'm like, I screwed up. I told this guy that I just like him, and I don't know what to do because he didn't say anything. Well, I screwed up. And then we had the concert, okay, and he was sitting right next to me playing the violin right next to me. Like we were on the
Oh,
same. Yeah, oh yeah, we didn't talk, and then he the next day comes talk to me. But what I'm saying here is like I literally turned to a dude and went like, "Yo, bro, are you stupid? I like you, like, bro. What else do you want me to tell
yeah,
you?"
yeah, yeah.
Like
Almost.
with a part of mine now, like I the person asks me how do I look, and I say fine. Person says just fine, and I'm saying what do you want me to say? I'd smash you. I literally these words fucking came out of my mouth. I'd smash you word by word. That's what I said. You have nothing on me on being direct.
So
I'm right there like, bro, I would get you.
I'm
Bro, hear
more
me out. I would
soft.
get you. Go to that bed that is like 5 meters away from us, and I would make you.
Oh my goodness. I know
Yes.
that
So
story.
like you want to talk about direct communication here? Like, bro,
Yeah,
I
I'll give
am
you the.
ridiculously direct.
Yes, you are. That's why I love you. But
Oh.
like I'm actually I have struggled a lot when I said to you like of like in the first month when the
Sorry, humble. Sorry, I have to read this message here.
oh my goodness.
If I had a nickel for each time you blurted out that you liked someone well in concert clothes and then ran away, I'd have 2 nickels. This is true. I don't remember if I said it to anyone else while on concert clothes at any other point. I confessed to someone, but yeah, and then ran away. Yes, I also did. Sorry, I had to read
It's
that.
miracles, but it's something.
I mean, it's not much, but it's weird that it happened twice.
Oh, it is that meme. Okay.
Yes.
Where was I? Yeah.
Sorry.
I remember saying to people like I'm very ambiguous. This has a lot to do with my poeta persona because
At least two
I could.
nickels.
It's a little like sometimes I remember if I want to express difficult things, I could actually find metaphors like to express difficulty. Even now, when I say something is really hard is happening, I say the house is burning down as a way to, and you know this, you get the cue because I give you beforehand that is not something is not going right, and I just don't want to say it directly. And that's the thing. It's not ambiguous if you give already a prehand of like prehand. This doesn't exist. I just made up um, of its expressions that you use. And for a long time actually I thought that was ambiguous, like in my expression, because I have such a mysterious persona for entire school,
Yeah, no, I am just
and I'm
extremely
also
direct.
and I was seen as the artistic one, the weird one. So, and also I write
Listen, I was
poetry.
also the weird one, just the loud weird one.
See, I was the quiet kid, like except I cannot make this joke. Um, I cannot make this joke really. Um, and there's a lot to do with language that I think when listen, my language actually also changes when I'm masking, which is weird. I don't know when I'm masking when I use certain language. Like, um, I might use some expressions, but then oh, it's tough actually to know. Like, I appropriate the peeps vocabulary and intonation sometimes, and that has it's kind of considered masking, I would say, because I'm trying to adapt to the person,
Hmm.
and and I did that for a certain period of time, and I still do. That's why I'm kind of good-ish at doing accents.
You do kinds of
Good-ish.
masking.
It counts. I don't know if I'm goodish. I'm decent.
It doesn't matter if you're good or not at masking. What matters is if you're doing it or not, really.
It sometimes is annoying because my mom would say something with such a strong northeast Portuguese accent, and I would mimic her, and she would get a little annoyed. And because I just
I would do
only do
that with
things.
literally every accent on this planet. Like if someone spoke Portuguese in a slightly funny way, bro, I was repeating that shit.
Yeah, yeah. I was calling. Imagine if I went Scottish, like a lot. We need to conquer Scotland again.
Humble, hear this out. I don't mask. Spends the next 35 minutes explaining how they mask.
Oh,
That's
it's
a call out
interesting.
for you.
It's similar. It's ironic.
It's ironic, I know. This podcast is made of irony, guys. Welcome.
It's ironic, post-ironic, meta-ironic, everything. It has
Everything.
all
It's
of them.
made
The
of
face.
irony.
It's made of irony. Hmm. I noticed some moments that I actually unmasked on this podcast. Like probably the beginning was the most remarkable one. Like uh, especially when I said welcome, hi peeps. Like it is
But now
probably masking.
we're sounding much more natural, just because I guess you're a little bit
It's kind of
calmer.
like probably I was nervous and I had
Yeah.
to sound professional, and I was kind of like, and then when I went with the whole explanation thing with disclaimer, I was kind of like, what the fuck I'm doing? Like I'm just putting this voice, and then I went there with like, oh, we created this with for two reasons. Like you noticed the tone change. I noticed. I was kind of like, whoa. Jesus, I'm just putting on this. Welcome to this podcast thingy. We just decided to establish. It's so much different. It's like I'm being more rigid and strict and military. I think. I don't know. My father kind of talks like that, I guess. So it's funny. Um. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And actually, I mask a little bit. Like when I'm doing impersonations, I would consider doing masking. Like I remember that when I was actually
Someone take the mic out of Rainby, I swear to fuck.
this is my time. This is my time. Actually, I had to warn a person from Madeira that I was going to do imitate their sounds a lot because the accent is incredibly funny.
It is pretty
I had to
funny,
warn
I
them. I had to
suppose.
warn them. I was going to do as a call like I cannot remember how I would pronounce it, but yeah. Sorry.
That's okay. Is it my time? Is it my time to speak? Is it my time to speak?
I'm quiet. Go ahead.
um yeah, so basically about my own personal masking experience and about the costs of it, like how I mask and how much it weighs on me, I suppose. Well, first of all, I am masking 24/7 even now. I spent my entire life masking, and I spent my entire life having to act in certain ways. So the times in which I would not mask were very, very rare. And I have a lot of trouble not masking, even if I know that I can. And actually, I do get a lot of emotional responses when people give me any kind of hint or confirmation that I can just not worry about that and just not mask in a situation that I'm not waiting for it to happen. The most recent example I have of that was just, being in a um, health facility, which for me it's a huge, huge trigger due to medical trauma.
Yeah.
And the nurse just saying something like, you can shout all you want if you need to, because he was doing something to me that would probably hurt, and I was trying to keep myself quiet, to not
Oh.
get the whole institution down, the whole facility down or something. And he turned to me and said that I could shout all that I wanted, and I was
What?
incredibly grateful. I wanted to cry right fucking there after hearing that, just because of the validation that I got out of that. But at the same
Oh.
time, I couldn't shout for as much as like I was still actively, or I guess not actively in the sense that I couldn't stop myself from stopping myself from shouting. Like I was still blocking myself in being unable to unmask in a situation in which someone told me it's okay. So because I
Um.
always had this huge pressure to act in a certain way, even if it tires me and even if people tell me it's okay, you don't have to be doing that, I have a hard time not masking, and this makes me extremely tired, guys. If you let me, I sleep 12 hours a day, because my body will absolutely
I confirm.
collapse because of how tired I am. I am tired all the time. And if I don't sleep 12 hours a day, it's either because I have too much work, I am on ADHD meds that allow me to sleep a little bit less, or it's summer and I end up sleeping a little bit less during summers and during winters. That's it.
Mm,
Because
uh,
otherwise I will sleep a lot. No, now it's my turn. Not.
but I will forget. Okay, I'm trying to pin it down. Okay, go ahead.
um. So yeah, this is the first thing. I have a huge problem with unmasking, and I can unmask. I unmask if mostly if I am on a one-on-one kind of situation with one person that I trust a lot and that I've known for a while and that I've been in person several times already, or on a call with said person. That is okay, and I will most likely unmask at least to a very fair degree, and I will start steaming. I will start talking in a different manner from my what you would consider my usual way of talking. I will most likely start being a little bit more cutesy and childish in the way I express myself. I will probably get super hyped reactions to things that I like. Like if I see a stuffed animal that I adore, I will do all the cute noises that you would hear from a child if you give them a treat. You know, I will do all of that. I am extremely expensive in the way I show affection and in the way I show my own emotions, but it's very particular. And if I do that in any kind of context, I'll be seen as dumb or as a kid, and I am neither of those things.
You actually are very cute.
Thank you very much. Um, but yeah, because of this, and because I am basically all the time masking and I am constantly tired, sometimes it even feels hard for me to understand how much I am how much I get tired from the things that I do. Um Zeke, you're distracting me. Let me just read what you said. Pro tip for podcasts: have a notepad, notebook, sheet of pen, pencil, write things down so you don't forget them by the time it's your turn to speak instead of interrupting others. I've been kind of doing that. Thank you.
Uh, I don't have anything written down. This is literally you're watching Rimby going improv.
Yeah,
Really,
it's unhinged humble. It's for you guys.
it's
Like
unhinged.
it's good. It's good. It is a neurodivergent
I
thing.
actually
It's
I
good to
wanted
be unhinged.
to touch on the Twilight thing. Actually, I feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Lila
the Dutch
says
lady.
that Twitch didn't give her a notification again. That's okay. Feel
That's okay.
free
Probably
to
it's a
type stuff.
midnight by there. It's midnight in there probably. It is.
Yes, Lila is a person that will be on your side. We had too many peeps on my side, Lila. Like now we need to stand up for Humble a little bit.
Actually, this is my voice reveal. I don't know if it's a disappointment, if it's something. But yeah, I'm the shit poster, and you are my shit poster, yes. So thank you.
Oh yes, Lila also shit posts on my channel, the Fiddler Toad. So if you don't follow me, go follow me. I'm gonna give myself a goddamn shout out because I deserve my
Yes,
shout out.
you sir. The Fiddler Toad with such an original name. Slash sarcasm.
It is.
Like the fiddler is what? It is a violin. And you are what? A toad. So let's add the adjective to the name. Original.
It's so
Super.
original that if you search for that combination online, you won't find anything. Now shut the fuck up. You were saying about childish
Oh,
stuff.
okay. Childish. Actually, I'm very. When I'm comfortable, so I'm like, kind of like that. Like, I just dance and
Oh
stay and
yeah,
I
yeah.
dance a lot.
Same,
Yes,
same, same.
they, they saw me. Lol. Like, I what I do? I don't know. I just get excited over simple things. That's pretty much it. Like when I'm not masking, is literally joy in person. That's what I feel like. This is actually very good when, especially given the fact that I still have some level of depression and being able to mask. Sorry. Oh my goodness. Ah, not masking. That's what I meant. Not masking is literally an alternative to my antidepressants. If I, the big pharma should hear this. Just steam, just keep steaming, keep be feel, yeah, just keep being
Medication
beautiful.
is an entire different topic for another day, not
It
gonna lie.
is, it is. With more research, of course, because this is a non-research based podcast because we just happen to be scholars on this subject. Please cite us on your dissertation. Just cite
God dang it.
like something really random that was said here. I don't know, I have no idea.
Man.
It will be so funny. Um, and so yeah, I'm actually also kind of like Toad when I'm not masking. I'm
Yeah.
vibing it, I'm chilling it,
Listen,
and
but
the
that's the
first
thing.
time,
When we don't mask, our autistic traits, they are more noticeable. That's what happens when you unmask, because masking is hiding your autistic traits. So
yes,
it feels natural to me that when we unmask, we have some of those traits end up being very similar because they come from the same source.
yeah,
um but yeah, let me continue my train of thought that meanwhile just went to cabbages. I suppose it's on cabbages, my train, guys. um
cabbages.
yes.
Okay, continue.
I don't know, man. ADHD. Good night, Lennon.
Cabbages.
um so yeah, I have a huge problem unmasking. When I do unmask, I do get this kind of way of being. I get way less productive as well.
Yeah.
um and I feel so much better. I create a lot more. I write more. I draw more. I will probably be coloring books if you leave me in a corner. I will not speak that much unless you touch topics that I really want to talk about. Like if you talk about something that really gets my attention, I will spend hours and hours and hours and hours talking nonstop and super fast. um but if you're talking about something that I don't really care much, I will be listening, but I'll probably be quiet, and I'll probably want time for myself. I will be a little bit grumpy if something is annoying me, like light or sound or whatever, and I'll just gonna curl in some place away from the world.
Oh,
I I will be, you know, kind of like a pet in some aspects. When a pet doesn't want to be with you, it's just gonna curl somewhere else. When it wants pets, it will go to you and ask for goddamn pets. That's pretty much what I do when I'm actually unmasking and just being the person that I want to be, and that I feel like I have the right to be. It just takes so much work for me to even get to this state of being that is just so much more natural and so much less tiring and just so much comfortable. Really, it's extremely comfortable when I get there, but the amount of effort that I even have to put to get there because I'm always masking is absurd. I have internalized
yeah.
masking.
They have been having kind of vacations lately. Like, quick disclaimer, they are the unmedicated one. With they don't are not having AHD meds. I'm having for the first time,
Yes,
second
I'm
time
done.
actually, the higher dose, and it has been such a burden on my back because I've been running literally on errands, and I
Hmm.
just feel like even the most noticeable thing, like stressful, like things that were not stressful for me start to be stressful. And even now, I'm hearing a lot of noise, and I'm becoming a little overwhelmed over time.
Hmm.
And yes, I'm a little anxious right now.
Yeah,
I have to
listen,
be
for
blunt.
now,
I
I'm
have to
still fine, but I know that in 20 minutes, if I don't stop this, I will start getting overwhelmed because I'm on a call and I have to be paying attention to what people are telling me. I
say
know
I don't
that.
mind doing this for 4 hours, to be honest,
Oh,
but
but I
it
do.
is. Yes, yes, that's why I need to accommodate you.
See, I am more autistic than
Hey,
you, Humble,
I
clearly. That's what it
yeah,
means.
yeah, that's pretty much
No,
it. I
it's not.
was a
Guys, it's
liar.
not what it means. It's not what it means,
It's
okay?
ironic. It's ironic. Sarcasm.
Just
Um,
making sure. I mean, Twitch doesn't get sarcasm, clearly. So,
but why
Twitch, Twitch, we
cabbages?
love you. Twitch, if you're listening to me, we love you. I love streaming. I love the community and the people that I've been able to meet through this platform. So
I
please don't
love
bring my
Toad,
channel down.
I love Raimi, and I love Zig. Yeah.
And
And I
we also
love
love
Lila.
Lila. And I also love
And
Lennon, even though Lennon already went to sleep. But we also love Lennon. And I love Lurkers. Lurkers, if you're there,
uh,
we love you.
we love my peeps. You are our peeps. This is very capitalist of way of saying, like, we are not possession, for Christ's sake. We are our own individuals. So,
More optimism is
what are,
better. I am biased, but I agree. I gotta say that like this was something that Lila said. I gotta say that 90% of the people I am able to talk to are definitely neurodivergent or Asian. It's either one or the other, guys. I swear. I wish I was kidding. But it's like either the person is from a completely different social context in which people maybe I think that maybe it comes from a considerate point of view in which we know that we're going to act in different ways because we are from different cultures, so there's not that pressure to just act in this normal way because our normals differ a little bit and we are respectful towards that, or it's just people that are neurodivergent and that I can just exist with because everyone else is just so hard to deal with sometimes. That's how I my personal experience. This is how it feels like on my skin. So like
I
my
actually,
friends are either neurodivergent or Asian, and I wish I was fucking kidding. It's insane.
and it's a beautiful actually. Actually, I've been more comfortable with being with neurodivergent people than neurotypicals, and that's what happened with university. I didn't feel comfortable with
Yeah,
neurotypicals, and you
yeah.
know the whole story. Yeah, so there's some ableist shit going on. They didn't understand my.
Oh, they are
Uh,
so strict. It's like, oh, but autistic people have like strict thinking, you know, and then it's like
no, and
you
I
try to
was the
tell
most
them like, oh,
open-minded.
things exactly. You try to tell them like, oh, this doesn't have to work this way. You know, there are different perspectives on this. People come
I
from different
was really,
cultures,
really
different points of
open-minded.
view, and whatever. And they're like, oh no, that's not like that. Oh, but it is like that. Oh, there you go with your strict way of thinking. Bro, you are
It's
not listening, you are not
ridiculous.
changing, you are thinking that everyone has to be in this very specific way, and if it's not, it's wrong. And I am strict.
No,
What?
but because they say that we are rigid because we are very loyal to our set of, I don't know if is it values is the right word, uh like I guess values would work on this, like we have our positions and we are very upfront about our positions. And I was even called out by Autistic Peep a few days ago for a manifesto that I wrote that work is ableist, and they still said, "You can't say a thing like this."
Jesus.
I love that moment. Like your sense, I was in Discord, and I was kind of like, "Yeah, this is beautiful. I'm being censored by another autistic that could actually agree with some arguments that I made, not the whole thing, but Jesus." And and
Yeah, that was a
and
whole
that's
thing
pretty
that
much
happened.
it. Yeah, you know the thing. And I feel more comfortable with divergent people, except that person. That person.
Oh yeah, but there's always bad people everywhere,
Yeah,
regardless
it's
of
proof that
your
no,
neurotype,
no.
really.
Yeah, like I say, neurodivergent people are, on general, cute people.
Yeah, people on chat are commenting on the cultural nuances of this, and there is a thing that I
Mm.
would like to comment related to masking specifically in terms of culture, which is we mask in a Western way. What I mean by this is I try to mask, or I. d- I don't even try anymore. I was forced my entire life because I didn't know I was autistic until I was an adult. But the way I tried to socialize myself was from a Western point of view, was what was acceptable in the social context that I live in. This means that if I was raised in a completely different social context with a completely different culture, the way I mask would be completely different. And what this leads to is that if I see a neurodivergent person that is Western, that has a similar culture to mine, you know, the chances that I can tell if that person is neurodivergent just by talking to them are pretty high because I can detect a couple of things that I myself do and some behaviors that are very particular, even if neurotypicals will not notice because they are very subtle because the person is masking pretty well. But I will be able to a lot of times tell. even if the person doesn't even know, I will be able to tell a lot of times. But
Yeah,
if this person is
because you
from
know
a
the patterns. Yeah,
exactly, but if this person is from a completely different culture, I cannot detect if this person is neurodivergent or not, or if this person is masking or not. I will not be able
yeah,
to
and
tell if this person is
also
autistic or not, or if has ADHD or not, because they are from a complete. I don't know what the norm is. I don't know what it is expected of these people, and the way it manifests ends up being completely different. Because even though neurodivergency has a genetic component to it, you are born autistic, you are born with ADHD or not, the way it manifests is social, and it is a question of development. So I will not be able to tell. So culture does have an immense impact on the way you mask, to the point that I cannot tell if other
because
people are masking or not if they are from a different place, like straight up.
because masking is a learning
Hmm.
thing. It's a learning ability, and you have to go a lot to do with your
Yeah,
socioeconomic context,
definitely.
your cultural
Zig is
sorry.
also saying there are probably cultures where one part of the autism spectrum is the norm and our neurotypicals would be considered neurodivergent there. This is partially true in the sense that the criteria for an autism diagnosis in different countries can be slightly different according to their social context, because some things that would be definitely considered as a symptom, let's say, of autism, a criteria for being diagnosed as an autistic person, will not apply in a different social context. Therefore, they are not a criteria in that specific area or in that specific country, culture, social context, whatever. This that is a thing. And yes, there are things that the neurotypicals end up doing that are just not acceptable. Like, they would not be considered neurodivergent per se, but they would at least be considered very rude. That I will tell you.
Yeah, there's actually goodness.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm. Yeah, it's getting here. The mic is catching all that. That's
Fuck's
fine.
sake. It's not fine for
Happens.
me. It
Happens
happens. I
fine.
know. It's the Zoom meeting experience.
It's a Zoom
You
meeting
get.
experience. Ah, well, don't we all love family arguments?
Uh,
Ah, let me just sip on my tea real quick.
it's been for an hour actually.
Jesus,
I'm
Jesus.
trying to stay calm and say it's okay. I told them that I was going to do this, but they still did like. Oh my goodness. Oh. Okay, I will not get into detail.
No, you got this.
So I got it. I got it. So how was I? Yeah. So actually, what I noticed is I actually have a different way of greeting people. I never found like very appealing. I don't know. It's just maybe surprising and shocking to say this, but I don't like the two kisses greeting.
Oh, fuck that. Please just shake my hand or something, or just bow a
Yes,
little
I
bit to me.
actually
I
that's what
love the
I
bowing
did.
thing. I bow
Like
awkwardly at everyone.
I don't bow because I don't have. I don't know. I'm not very. I I don't know. I'm very Western, you know.
I know, but it
So
feels
I
so natural to me to just bow to someone
no,
because
actually I can nod. Like I can nod and just wink. Actually, I wink at people. Like
yeah, okay, I don't
it's cool.
mean a full Western bow that you do after a concert. I do mean a slight nod with a little
Yeah,
bit of
it's
your
a small
back.
thing, like a nod, a back nod, like something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this.
it's a back nod. Yeah, yeah, I do that
Me,
as a
it's actually
greeting.
upwards. Like what's up? Like
I do that as a
with the
greeting
wink.
quite a lot.
Yeah. When I do upwards, or I just greet if it's more formal, I greet with the handshake. And actually, I did this in a gathering, and they just found really weird
I
because
mean, you're an
I'm
A.
not an AMAB.
You are an
Yeah,
AFAB, exactly, because
but I went there, and even
based
when I
on your
went with my
genitals,
hand,
it means you have to kiss people.
I mean, I don't mind kissing peeps if I know them very much and if they like me, and of course, sing me and give me attention. I don't mind kissing them. I love it. But strangers, what is this? What is this? This is a weird sense of intimacy that my autistic friend cannot compute. And I just it makes sense in Western culture. That it makes so much sense that in France you greet the person like with three
With
kisses,
three,
like
yeah, yeah.
with three. And there's the one I can't recall. That is with four. Like two were not enough. They have go with the
Oh,
flow
that I don't know.
thing.
That one I don't know.
I don't know.
But then I know places where like holding hands is extremely personal and don't do that in public. So I find that amazing.
But I like holding hands in. No, I don't say public. Probably because
I mean,
if you
public, I
guys
mean like in the subway or like just walking down the street. You
the
do that.
wrong
You do
guy.
that. You do
Okay,
that.
it's a little. It I can start from discrimination. Okay.
But all I'm saying is, yeah, it's incredibly cultural. Like all of those things. So that's where masking becomes a little bit trickier in the sense that
Mm-hmm.
I learned to mask for this very particular context, but I also feel like that gives me a little bit of an advantage in other social contexts
Mm.
because put it this way, I already had to learn an entire way of behaving that has nothing to do with what I would behave like if I was
Oh.
just, not constantly actively pressured to do something. So when I am in a different context and I always have, which is a privilege or not, but it's like I have this instinct to analyze everything around me and try to understand what is acceptable and not, which of course tires me a lot, and of course burnout is very real. Um, but at the same time, if I'm with with people from a different culture, I will first try to read what would make these people comfortable and only then try to act, um, which in several contexts, including during college, because I had projects of music with people from different cultures, helped me a lot. And then my colleagues would put me always in the front. You deal with this because you know how to talk to them.
Oh, they give you the good guidelines.
the,
Oh yeah.
yeah, they always put me in the front because they're like, you know how to talk, to captivate these people, you know how to get to
Actually,
them. And literally all I was doing was asking them like their names, how they wanted to be treated, and all of that, and trying to act according to that, and trying to read if anyone was uncomfortable, and if so, why. Because this is literally what I have to do every single minute of my life just to exist in the goddamn social context that I was created
okay.
at.
Okay. Might I add something?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah, definitely.
okay. I forgot to say this. Actually, I see masking as a performance. Like because this has a lot to do with the fact I was also very a person that would do some theater. Just kidding. I never got into a theater school, but I actually was a very focused kid in plays. Like I would memorize the lines, and I would try to
Mm-hmm.
mimic the emotions.
I was
This,
terrible.
and actually, I'm kind of goodish, like I would say,
It
and
hurts my soul to pretend even further than what I have
it's
to do on
because you have
my everyday
alexithymia.
life.
It's because it's alexithymia as well.
But I also have
But I,
alexithymia.
yes, you have. That's why I was
Oh, it's
saying
also
it's
another
it's a.
neurodivergence that we both have, alexithymia, which is
I know.
the
So I'm so sorry. I don't have it. Excuse me.
Um, Humbo says I don't have alexithymia. I definitely do, which is the difficulty of
Okay, I kind of have.
understanding and process your own emotions. In my case, it manifests as as having an extreme hard time differentiating my emotions from my physiological stuff. So sometimes I cannot understand if I'm having just a regular stomach ache or if I'm anxious and my stomach hurts because of that, because I cannot understand if I'm anxious or not. I can only understand what my body
I
tells me.
think
I
when
cannot
I know.
understand,
Yeah.
hold on, I cannot understand if I am feeling cold or if I'm sad. I cannot understand if it's very warm in a certain place and I am getting overwhelmed by some sound kind of deal, or if I'm just angry, just regularly angry. I have a hard time distinguishing my emotions from everything else that is happening in my body, and I can only know what I'm feeling if I ask my body, "Okay, body, tell me what's the data here." So you are feeling your head a little bit heavy, and your stomach hurts a little bit. You are with a little bit of mind fog there, and also it's getting kind of hard to eat, and I'm like, oh, that's anxiety. That's how it works
I
for me.
also. Okay, because I noticed just yesterday that I pee a lot. because I was
Is
more
that you realizing
anxious.
that you are alexithemic? By the way, Zeke agrees that you are alexithemic.
Is
Take a shot every time Humble
yeah,
says, I don't know, when referring to something about himself. You die.
and I actually have a solarization that, which it might be considered exothermia. Actually, I was actually half joking when I said, "Excuse me, don't say that."
You are so
Uh,
alexithemic, it hurts my soul, or even. I don't
it's
mean to
kind of
be the
stuff.
one putting another diagnose on you. I already did that with ADHD, and I don't want to
Mm,
get too smug here, but
mm.
please.
I'm like, you were being so upfront about me being alexithymia that,
Man, it's so over. It's like so obvious.
but I'm like, I'm such in denial. Like, I'm because I know what emotions are.
I
I,
also know what emotions are. What do you think I am, a fucking robot? I know what emotions are, and I only realized that's the thing. I didn't think I was alexithemic because I was very good at understanding what other people were feeling. Just didn't know that
and I
was
don't even know
because I
because I was very expressive in my like
same humble. Listen to me. I am very good at
what I'm
expressing
doing the whole
myself.
time.
Bro, do you know how much you talk as well? Um, so I am I was known for my college years as the person that would get into other people's heads because I always knew what they were thinking and I always knew what they had gone through just because I just met that person. They tell me a bunch of things about their life and I'm like, oh, you probably have trauma because of this and this and that. And you react like this because this and that and whatever, you know. And they were like, oh, sorcery. How did you get in my head? And I'm like, that's basic logic. And I always thought, this is because I spent
Mm.
years and years and years trying to understand how other people behave in order for me to be able to mask. And because I did this, I was always very good at understanding how other people felt, regardless of if I could do anything about it or not, or if I could act in the way that I was expected or not. I could understand what was going on a lot of time, and I could understand a lot of emotions because of the clues that people give me. They give me cues for this specific emotion, and I can tell what they're feeling. I can empathize. I can do um, all of that. But when it came to my own emotions and understanding them, what I was doing was over rationalizing everything to make sure that I would be emotionally stable. So I understood my emotions very well because I was constantly watching media that forced me to have emotions in order to process my own. If these characters, if these people are going through this and that, and I relate, that means I feel that thing. And that's how I was processing my own emotions all the time. So I was so good at understanding emotions that I spent more than 20 years of my life without understanding that I couldn't understand what I was feeling unless I over rationalized it. I was
Oh,
so good at understanding emotions because I was alexithemic. And that's the thing. Also, Lila says that emotions are those things that you get when watching movies, and I absolutely agree. That's how I process mine.
oh, that's a very interesting thesis. Just kidding. It's reality. It's not a thesis. Actually, I probably like masking. Probably will be so a performance. Like, uh, okay, I'm very excited, like in the sense that uh, I'm very slow processor of emotions. I don't realize, like, I know I'm angry, but there's more to it. I don't know why. But about the mimicking stuff, I think that's how I learned to express myself when I was a child. Like, I used to watch a lot of movies and I would try to mimic the characters a lot, which probably taught me to express emotions in a more normative way, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And I still struggle with emotional regulation, which is a ADHD thing, and it is also a personality disorder thing. Especially with cluster read personality disorders,
Oh
I think.
yeah, welcome to
It's
my
a whole.
jam. I am like one criteria and a half away from being diagnosed with borderline personality disorder.
Did you know that actually I also consider that on this weekend? Like, for the thrice time in on this year, like, probably I might be. I could have some traits of borderline as well. But I'm
Yeah.
also probably
I mean, listen, if you are a cluster B type of personality, you will inevitably have traits from those
but
personality disorders,
I'm
but it's very hard to get a
but
diagnosis because you need to actually be extremely dysfunctional to get one. I was almost
I am
extremely
dysfunctional.
dysfunctional.
I'm dysfunctional as well. But
Coffee
I'm so
Lady's online. Do you know who we're gonna rate after we finish? Coffee Lady. Sorry, I just saw her online and I had to mention this.
yeah. Let's write her. Even though yeah. Sorry. Where was I? Okay. I just lost my train of thought. That's why you keep it from me. I lost it.
Sorry, but you talked for so long. I also wanted to say things.
I didn't notice that I talked too long. My goodness. Ah,
Our Zik, our mod, you'll start to have like a timer
timer.
with how
Like
much Rambo speaks and how much I speak, like on political debates.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
see, and then you tell
yeah,
us, poor Zik. Zik
yeah,
is gonna die
yeah.
in this podcast. I swear to fuck.
Uh, it's because it's going to be so boring. Oh, but they are alexithymia probably as well, so probably they will not find bored. They will not even know what to feel about it.
Jesus, that's not how any of that works.
I know this is clearly well researched. That's why I don't even consider to be alexithymia because I thought, well, I'm a poet. I know about emotions. I'm not alexithymic.
Man,
Bye.
do you want to see my diary? It's just me processing emotions and like being
I
overly
want to read
dramatic
it.
about them.
I
Don't,
want to read the whole shit, the whole thing.
that's extremely embarrassing, but I will let you.
Okay, I was half joking. I was half joking.
And I
Like
am half serious.
this is I'll also let you read my diary or just the 5 pages of it because I just gave up. I mean, 5 pages, and it was still read by someone else. It's incredible. It's incredible. It was that's why probably because I thought I'm an artist. I know how to do theater, and and I know what emotions are, and yeah, sometimes I may process a little slowly. Sometimes I don't even understand certain situations. Probably I don't even cannot feel viscerally what the person is feeling, and sometimes it's really hard to read. So yeah, probably I'm a legitimate. I don't know,
You're at least very sus.
but I wrote very romantic um, uh, poems. Okay, so I know what emotions are. It's not even related to the fact that I came out so late at my life that probably I have romantic feelings, and I didn't have any sexual attraction because I was messing up the whole thing all the time. It's hilarious
Internalized stuff, which once again goes back to masking.
because yeah, masking in relationships. It's very interesting because I'm very glad that my experiences with that are being with their diversions.
Hmm.
That's not the case with the poor person, for Christ's sake. They went through hell. Uh, and these are hell.
So
Quote
so
me on
did you?
that.
So did you?
With one, okay, with one, I would say, yeah. Um, so I can be very blunt and be my real self, which is a thing that I longed for my entire adolescence. I wanted to be myself with someone that I wanted to be intimate, and I felt with empty relationships I couldn't be like that. I had to steal masks, and like I said, it's a performance. I had to perform a character that has a certain script, that has a certain features, and if I go off script, which, well, I'm going off script right now, uh, I might, the relationship might fail somehow because they're going to start to see as, me, and they're so used to like me as the other person. And that's the thing that actually I have struggle. It's the last thing that I'm going to say before you start. Um, Actually, I like when people perceive me, like how if they start to see the real me. That's the thing, and that's the thing with masking. You cannot see the real person, and that's why.
I have to disagree there, but Yeah.
Yeah, I know why you would disagree, but I say this in a but yours is a very specific case. I would say, if I'm not wrong, okay, because from my experience, when people mask this, they are kind of like doing a character, and that's what I also felt like, and I was once perceived wrongly by a neurodivergent person, even by a hacking by a neurodivergent person, for Christ's sake, because I was probably masking with them. I was not realizing it. I was not being upfront about things. I was not showing my positions because I was afraid of my positions being attacked, and they happen to be. And and say my values and sort of thing. If I don't feel comfortable showing that to other people, like share the things that I like, because even listen, even lying about your music taste, for example, which I did,
Masking.
it's very masculine. It's actually it stings me when I do that.
Internalize the ableism, like Six said.
Sick, sick, my dear peep. Okay. Where
Can
was I?
can I interject on the masking not being the real you thing?
Mhm. Feel free.
If I can interject on that.
Yes, feel free. You
Ah,
are.
okay, sorry. Um, I have to disagree
Mhm.
because I spent my entire life masking, right? If you put it like that, it feels like every single moment that I've lived with every single person that I love while I was masking was fake, which is not true. It's very much not true. If I was masking in front of someone that I absolutely love and adore, I was there with them and I was being myself. I was just being the me that I could be for that circumstance. And I think that's very important is that we are not one person, generally speaking, there is just like below or under covers and covers and covers of masks. There is no real person below that because everyone masks to a degree according to who they are with. Like if you are with a group of friends, you behave in a certain way, and if you are with other people,
Yeah,
you behave in a different way.
So
And those two versions of you are both real and are both you. So I just feel like it's unfair to call that like a non-genuine version of yourself or not the real version of yourself or what I don't remember exactly how you phrase it, but I feel like it's unfair.
I said it was. I was not seeing your real self.
Exactly, the real self.
Yeah.
Because everyone was seeing the real me. The real me was the me that didn't know better, didn't know how to act any differently, and that was
Okay.
doing the best they could to be with someone else. That was the real me.
Okay.
Uh, and what I want to say, I just want to say that yes, I appreciate if I don't have to do that, and I appreciate if I can not just tire myself by doing that. If I feel like I can do that and like I want to do that, like that's great. But if I can't for some fucking reason, that's still real me that is there with you, living all those moments.
Mm,
That's it.
thank you for the refutation. And actually, yeah, a yeah, it's that's why it's a nuanced discussion. Actually, because I see this as a more probably because I'm seeing this with other lenses. Because when I was say I was performing a character, I meant that I was also performing as a cis woman. I was also performing as a straight passing. I was performing as not even say neurotypical, but I was performing several things. And people perceive me as a cis woman and treating me like one, and that was horrendous because one, they were literally treated by my wrong identity, and two, I was victim, and I'm still victim of misogyny and
Oh,
misogynistic
definitely.
concept, behaviors. So that's when I see more as unmasking. It has a more depth thing, like which is I still think it's a performance thing, but I can really see your point. And I don't. I know that you're masking with me,
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
and I still don't. Yeah, and I don't have the urge to say that you're being fake. because I still sense your energy somehow.
Because
Like,
I am there. The masking is part of me. It's been
and you
with
would go
me.
into an identity crisis if you start to unmask, probably.
I would feel uncomfortable. Man, today I was masking so hard with while I was talking to you on our private messages when I was being all that ironic shit posting that I was doing that. Boy, I was masking. I was having so much fucking fun, bro. You have no idea how much fun I was having. And that was the
You are
real me.
masking, unmasking.
I was masking. I was masking. I was
Oh,
putting
it's
on a
masking.
mask of ironic shit post, and boy, I was having fun. I was
Oh
having
boy, I
so much
love it.
fun.
I love it.
It you see,
And
and
I,
that is also the real me. It's not because I'm not just doing my thing of seeming. That's the thing.
it's
Masking is
not like,
bad when you have to be doing it in order to fit in a certain context, and if you don't, you are cast aside. You can't get a job, you can't get a life, whatever. That's bad.
so
You
in
shouldn't have
so,
to mask, but masking is not necessarily bad.
so in it has a conservative coercive nature, but since you're so used to it, now deal with it, and that's you. That's pretty much what you're saying, right?
Yeah. Zig said something interesting. People who've masked their whole lives are still being genuine while masking. It takes a lot of alcohol to take off their masks. And
Not alcohol, for Christ's sake.
listen, I do not encourage the the consumption of any kind of substance whatsoever, but I have to admit that the last time I was able to even process my own emotions and be extremely honest about them to myself and to others, I was so goddamn drunk. I drank like a full bottle of wine on my own.
I will
And I
not
never
comment on
drink.
that.
You're never. Yes, because you got all worried. But listen, it was
Yeah,
therapeutical
that's
for
why.
me in that moment. And yeah, once again, I do not encourage risky behaviors of any sort. And please, kids, do
Please,
not try this at home.
please
But for
hear
me, in that
us.
moment, it was the right thing to do, and I unmasked, and it was great.
That's beautiful. I was so unaware of the context. I was thinking like they are putting at risk. Oh
Is
my
that healthy
goodness.
for frogs? I don't know, but for toads, apparently, it was healthy. Sorry, I was answering Zik.
Toads, they might have a hard time with consumption of alcoholic substances, since they are only made of coolness. Why are you
Yeah,
saying
I
that?
am
This
so
doesn't even make
goddamn cool.
any.
The amount of cool that I have, boy, you cannot deal with how cool I am.
You are literally and metaphorically cold because you're a frog,
I'm a
a
cry.
toad. Oh, but yeah, I'm just where you are. Zach, I blame
Yeah.
you. I lost again.
Yeah, Zika was also now saying that it was controlled because they were there in sober. Yes, I didn't drink without a sober person next to me to take care of me once I got absolutely wasted, which is
Says
also very
yes, yes,
important. Take
yes. It
security
was.
measures if you want to do something that you know that is risky. Have someone that you know that is going to be responsible and be and communicate about that.
You actually shit
Important.
on my. You actually, yeah, yeah, definitely. Be careful. No, be like Greenleaf that puts that cell at risk and has no one to help them. And they actually shit on my coping mechanisms. Like, bro, you're seriously non-ironically saying that being self-hating to yourself is a good coping mechanism? So I'm
No,
like, what?
Jesus.
No, I was kind of like, no, you didn't say it on that way, but like I remember you shit on my coping mechanisms. Like you shit us in a way like, bro, it's not healthy. What the fuck you doing? I'm getting this right.
That's questionable, but that's a completely entire talk. Humble, it's midnight. Do you want to do final thoughts on this thingy or what?
Okay, my
I'm
final
dying.
thought is yes, I can see that. The final thoughts is masking is coercive. It is shit, but it's also beautiful, I guess, because told does to me, and I like it. That's it. That's the whole podcast thing.
Okay, guys, I will summarize this another way because if I leave this to Humble, my God, you
Oh
guys
my
don't
goodness,
mind.
they're calling me incompetent. Just kidding,
No.
just kidding, just kidding. Okay, I will summarize it. So Remote defends that the masking is not a privilege at all because they weight the negative sides are more heavy than the positive sides. And Toad says that it's a privilege in the way that yes, even though it's draining and it shits their brain, it still enables them to have a life, a livable life. Even though if they screw up their brain and get a extreme a shared amount of occupational diseases and conditions. And, and and I continue to say, well, that's why pretty much it. That's why I probably unsympathize with the idea that it's not a privilege because of that, because it's the mental health system. It causes mental health issues in the long term. And and then they say like, oh, but even masking is contextual. It has a context. It has a cultural thingy. It's not even like masking is not even that straightforward. Like masking that we know is very on Western, and it depends on the context and that yada yada yada. I don't know. Some shenanigans happen. I don't know. And then I say like, oh yeah, 3 kisses. It's disgusting. And then they say like, oh. I agree. And then yada yada yada. I don't remember the shit fuckery. And I happen to know now, realize that yes, I know that you mask, but you still feel like it's your real self, which is interesting. And I feel like it's a performance. It's like you have different views. Like,
Yeah,
and that's might justify why I say it's not a privilege because I feel it's a performance. It's like you're doing that for 24 hours. Is it coercive? It's exploratory, and you're kind of
it was
like
abuse and I didn't even know of it. I was being gaslit my entire life to mask. That's what was happening. I'm not going to use
yes, yes.
beautiful terms here. I was being gaslit my entire life in order to be able to fit. I was gaslit until I was able to mask. That's it.
Yeah, and I was got punished for non-masking. Basically, I'm not going to say also beautiful things here. Actually, I got beat up for having a meltdown in public. Not in public. It was actually in my house, and I got severely bullied for being uh, autistic, very visibly autistic. That was bullying that lasted for years, actually. Uh, I don't know what we spent years, and it led me to ostracization. I didn't have friends until I was 20. This was like I was the last friends that I had was when I was 10. So you make the math. So you do the math. So it is like that's why I think and I did invalidate you when I said that, like, I saw from bullying, I saw from discrimination that like medical ableism, academic ableism, all my life,
I was
and
suffering from microaggressions and not even understanding why.
yeah, which is not great
Some of
at
them were
all.
not that micro, really. Some of them were pretty hardcore.
So, but then people understand like women went through worse, which on a
I think
scale,
you
almost
did.
yes, it's tough because here's the thing. I don't know. The microaggressions is still painful. It's still very painful to experience, but I get it. Like, yeah, I was more actively. Sorry, you are dying, and I'm still continuing on this because I forgot to say this.
No, it's fine.
I will finish this. I promise.
Well, you better. I don't
So
want to be here
the
for the rest of my life.
oh. Okay. Let me finish. So not masking actually had consequences. It made me lose 2 internships. It made me feel not safe in my current school. I still not safe. I
Hmm.
actually got terrible mental health issues very recently because of that. I was underperforming, and I started to beat myself up for underperforming compared to my peers that were neurotypical. This was in
Hmm.
2020, actually, and actually I got into a burnout because of that. And then that shit happened. No, I lost my internship because they thought I was not communicating enough. I was not messaging because I didn't have. And then I went enraged for months I was suffering from a bit of trauma, and I was still. And at first, in the first weeks, I was blaming myself why I didn't mask, and I still do. Like sometimes I even come up with it. I wish I could mask so badly. I wish not even. This is like the new. I want the cure for autism thing, but it's like the yassified cure for autism. It's like I wish I could mask. I wish I had this mascara on my face.
And I was low key wishing that I wasn't able to mask so that people would take me seriously when I need something. It was like, boy, I know that I am an independent person because I can mask and people can take me somewhat seriously, but sometimes I wish that people didn't perceive me as such, that I couldn't mask so that I could be disabled enough to even get accommodations. Just that. Just
Yeah,
please,
yeah,
I
because
wish that I was disabled enough on the eyes of other people to just get simple
yeah,
human decency, really. Just that.
yeah, and I am disabled, so disabled that people dehumanize me
Oh
and
yeah.
take me away from my rights.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's the big difference between us.
It's the
But
way
we
people
are
perceive
still
us.
victims of the same thing. But we are still
Yeah.
victims of the same thing. But we have different experiences. That's why we did this episode. Is that's why. And I was enraged, and I guess that rage was projected when I had arguments with you.
I know. I
Like
know.
I was
And
victim
my
of all the
trauma
time.
was stopping me from being able to explain why I was getting so, in a way, reactive, even if I was trying to not be aggressive in any way,
Mhm.
but I was getting trauma response for all the things that I heard my entire life
Yeah, we
of.
touched each other traumas.
Exactly. I was You felt like I was devaluing your experience as someone that
Mm-hmm.
cannot
Mm-hmm.
do something that I
Mm-hmm.
can, that I am able to do, and I felt like I was that my
Being
needs were being
validated again.
disregarded because just because I can do this one thing, it doesn't mean that it doesn't come with a great cost. And I was getting extremely hurt, and I was getting
I'm so
basically
sorry
all
about
the
that.
discourse that I had to heard from every neurotypical person in my life. And that was bad at the time. It felt really bad, and I wasn't
Mate,
being able to tell you.
it was. I mean, it doesn't not only come from a person that is neurodivergent. It's also a person that you have a certain level of intimacy, and you're expected to feel safe. And I just broke that down that moment. I guess I went hypocritical, and I went. I broke that kind of safety that you probably had with me. So,
No,
and I'm
that
really sorry for that.
I mean, that's okay. We solved things and we
We
communicated, and
solve
that's
things
what
out that way.
matters.
This thing
Yeah.
is
I
yeah,
think that's
that's
Nick
all good.
said. It almost feels like we have to fake or purposefully exaggerate our disabilities just so people fucking respect us. But then my rights will also
That
be taken
is
away.
so yeah. I felt this is actually funny because I do that sometimes. I'm bastard because sometimes I would say like, oh, I was sick, that's why I didn't do that. Like sometimes I even say that,
But
you
that's the
know.
thing. It feels like you are exaggerating, but you are not lying. It's the only way people will take you
Yeah,
seriously.
yeah.
If I don't
It's
literally,
that. Yeah,
and even if
they
this
don't
happened with me
know.
with doctors, if I don't go to the doctor and say, yo, I am dying, I am in pain, like everything hurts, they will not give me a fucking exam for me to do. And it's literally the same thing. If I don't say, boy, I can literally cannot take one more second of this situation, people will not take me away from that situation, even if I need to be taken out of that situation. Like, yes, I can stay there, but I'm gonna pay for it. So what I have to say is, I cannot take a single second of this. I have to exaggerate the consequences so that people give me basic accommodations. That will happen. That is a thing that definitely happen. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, and no, it's because I feel the same thing because I was literally just talking with my advisor. Like I actually had to pretend like I was so incredibly sick I couldn't get out of bed, which yes, I could get out of bed, but I was dealing with a
Yes,
lot
but
of
at what
executive
cost?
dysfunction.
If you got out of bed to do those things, how much more overwhelmed and how many meltdowns would you have had on
No,
account
actually,
of
I got
that?
out of bed. I got out of bed. That's the thing. I was lying,
Yes, but you okay,
but
but you
I
got
was
out.
not able to do the thing.
But if yes,
That's the thing.
if you tried to do the thing, if you tried, how many meltdowns would
Hmm.
you have had? So yes,
I
you
I don't
said
have
that
meltdowns though.
you don't have
I
meltdowns?
probably no. I probably would get extremely tired, extremely drained. Not even a meltdown, I would say. It's kind of like
I
I
think
can't
you have a
die.
misconception on how meltdowns work, but that's a conversation for another episode, really, because meltdowns are
Mm,
not just
I'm very
outbursts. You can have internal meltdowns, and that's why I thought I didn't have meltdowns, was because my meltdowns are incredibly internal most of the time.
no, because I don't know. It wouldn't consider it as a shutdown, really, because I shut down really. That's pretty much it.
They
And
say the
yes,
same thing. Sorry, go on.
no, I
Finish.
don't even know what I was.
Ah, okay. Not gonna give much context, but one time I had to pretend that I couldn't breathe so my dad would take me seriously. I later had to have a surgery that same
Oh,
night. So it's like it was a situation in which yes, they could breathe, but if they didn't say that, they wouldn't be taken seriously. They wouldn't be
you had
taken to the hospital.
to,
It was a
yes.
question for a fucking surgery.
And it's the
So
perception they have. This is the thing. People have a very strict and recent perception about disability,
yeah.
and unless you are bound to a bed or unable to breathe or anything like that, you are truly disabled, and you get the social benefits and all. But you are still get the price of being dehumanized, being institutionalized, being
Hmm.
segregated from society. You don't have no life. But then, if you're also very able-bodied passing, you don't get the benefits. Your needs are constantly invalidated. I had to pretend a lot for some reason. Like I had to pretend that some things were worse than they actually were. At least for neurotypicals, even though I was literally struggling. When I say I couldn't go to the class, I said I was like sick, like I got terrible diarrhea or something like that. And literally it was me having an anxiety attack that was so extreme. And actually I didn't went for a semester of classes because I would have severe anxiety attacks almost daily.
Yeah.
And people were not understanding of that, and I'm getting a little screwed over by this, probably. Because they don't understand like how anxiety makes you not go to class. Well, because it's going to make it worse. Like
Yeah.
peeps, I know peeps are going to talk about certain topics that I knew that are going to be triggering because my anxiety was very
And that
trauma
itself
related.
already causes anxiety even before the thing
So it's kind of
happens.
like, and also they were doing the project, and I was really already struggling with exit dysfunction at the time. So it was a little, it was a ball that was piling me up. And I decided I should not go. I should do the thing on my home, on my library or something. Like, I don't go. Literally, I just sat up. And it's not really small thing because teachers were going to say, like, oh, you are missing classes. What irresponsible students? I was kind of like, no, but I'm struggling internally. Even though I say I can't mask, and I'm more visibly autistic, I still
Mhm.
my needs are still invalidated. You know,
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. But
my
that
depression
goes for
was
everything
had
because ableism is very real, no matter the degree of
yeah,
your
because they have such a
disability.
strict perception of pain, such a strict perception of disability. It is painful, actually. You
Yeah.
know, that's why it exists because of a lot of ignorance and elitism and all sorts of things. And